Let's rock.
We got time. I can cut around. I need to get into a good position anyway.
Gotta get in the zone here.
Yeah, get in the zone. I didn't mind starting it the way I did with Sam and Kai, where I really just kind of was like, welcome back, you know?
Right.
We can do that. We got a lot to talk about.
We're not started yet.
I mean, it's recording, but I'm going to cut this part, unless you think I should leave it.
No.
Okay. Wait, hold on. Hear me out. So, shitters, if you're listening, if I decide to leave this in, Braden and I, you're getting a little look past the curtain, right? A little look out of the dark of how some episodes for me and Braden start things. It's like behind the music. Yeah. You think we just come in every time, just wacky, tacky, doing what we do.
Yeah.
There's a planning session. There's a planning process.
We believe it or not, we talk about things before we go on. Not the things we're going to talk about, but how we're going to talk about the things we want to talk about.
Yeah. A lot of people write a script for their podcast. We just fucking go right off the cuff.
Right off the cuff. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Balls to the walls.
Yeah.
I was going to say, my parents keep showing curiosity at this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But they keep forgetting about tuning on. But eventually they're going to tune on to one of these episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering which one.
Which one's the one?
Yeah.
God, hopefully it's one of the good ones.
Hopefully. But we'll see.
We will see. And maybe it's this one. Maybe it's this very one we're recording where they get to hear the planning process.
Yep.
Because I think I'm going to leave this.
Sure.
I think it's a look behind the curtains. And the shitters nowadays, they deserve that from time to time. Right. So welcome back, shitters.
Welcome back.
To the podcast that is being called the shittiest podcast on the internet.
Yep. In the whole earth.
Nerd shit in the dark all around the earth. We do have, not to toot our own horn on the show, but I am surprised from the shitters that I see on our analytics, like where they live, people listening across the country. What would you say is the
most surprising?
I think there was a Pakistan.
Wow. Shout out to Pakistan.
Right. Like there was an Australia percentage. There were a couple of other ones. England.
The Brits hate them.
Yeah, but they seem
to. Those people.
But they seem to like us. So
you
know. But Pakistan, that was one that I was like, huh.
Oh, it's interesting.
So thank you for being a shitters, and welcome back to another exciting episode. Because Braden and I have some good plans for tonight.
You sure do.
Braden's got a few things that he's looking forward to talk about. I've got a few things that I'm looking forward to talk about. And then we're going to go watch Godzilla Minus One and come back out and talk about that.
Hell yeah.
Which I'm super excited about.
Very excited. I've been waiting for a while to watch this.
Yeah. Like King Kong X Godzilla or Kong X Godzilla, Godzilla X Kong.
I still need to watch that. When's that coming out? Is that out already?
It's out already, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I know another thing.
It was the one that you were supposed to meet me at the theater at, and you went to Du Bois, and I went to Altoona.
Yeah, we were in completely different
towns, yeah.
That was funny when we found out, because we didn't find out until we were both in the opposite towns.
Yeah.
So
You were like, I'm almost there, and I was like, cool.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to go sit inside. I almost said that. I almost was like, we're going to go sit in. Come find us when you get here.
Right.
Instead, I luckily chose to call you and be like, how far? Just so you could be like, I'm almost in Du Bois. And
I was pretty lucky that you called me. I was surprised, because normally I just show up and send you a text that I'm here.
That would have been so funny. You probably would have saw the movie then.
I probably would have. And I would have enjoyed it.
It was good. And what I was getting at originally was that I was more excited about that movie than I was for Godzilla Minus One, just because. But when I heard Minus One was not only a good Godzilla movie, but a really good just movie, and it won an Oscar, I was like...
Yep, got worldwide acclaim.
That's fucking awesome, because I'm a big Godzilla fan, and I'm really looking forward to this one.
A lot of great Godzilla content.
Right now, Godzilla fans...
Renaissance.
It was quiet on the Godzilla front for a long time, and then it just kind of...
popping off
came back in full force.
The second most successful multiverse out there.
Yeah.
Or universe,
cinematic universe.
Cinematic universe.
Yeah. And who knows, it might get multiversal for all I know. With fucking Middle Earth or whatever it is. Hollow Earth.
It's getting there.
It's getting there a little.
They're ramping up the ridiculousness.
Wait till you see Godzilla X Kong. You'll you'll see.
It's gonna go the way of the Fast and Furious movies, where they give you more of that.
But it's okay, because with the Fast and Furious movie, those are people in cars. Right. Monsters, who cares? I've already accepted giant monsters that are fighting.
We can accept them doing pretty much anything.
Damn near anything.
And love it.
Damn near anything.
Yeah.
So can't wait to talk about that as we've all
For sure.
listened into.
Well, lot to look forward to.
Lots to look forward to. Before we get into new nerd shit, though, Braden, you said you had some old shit to talk about.
Oh,
you wanted
yes.
to go back on. So
Yes.
please enlighten me on some of your new watches to you, maybe old watches to me.
For sure. So, we've already talked about X-Men 97.
Yep.
But I recently finished it along with Kaylee.
Yeah.
And we loved it.
Yeah.
We were super drawn in.
Yeah.
And we are about to start the original series
Right.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have pretty much nothing but great things to say. I mean, there's a few plot lines that didn't make sense to me,
Mhm.
but that's just comic books in general.
Yeah.
So I would kind of take it. It comes with the territory, you know.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I really love the story. You were right that it really starts to ramp up around episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Probably 3.
3, I think.
Yeah, it's when
2 it starts moving, and then 3
Yeah.
it's like
It's good the
We're
whole
going.
way. Like the intro hooks you right away. I love Magneto's probably my favorite character now.
Magneto is a dope character in
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, he that's how he's supposed to be. I feel.
Yeah.
Not to knock the live
Real.
action series,
Very
but it's
real.
it's just I haven't seen him characterized like that in a long time.
Yeah, and they handle it. One of my favorite scenes from the entire season is when he takes, I don't even know, those senators
Yeah.
and shit into like basically
When he-
orbit.
when he did that, that was about what I
Don't let
started
me
it.
let you down.
Yeah, I started it on my own and got to about episode 2 and told Kaylee I was watching it, and then she asked if she could watch it with me. So I rewatched those 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And I was like pumped
Yeah.
to watch the second episode again because of that scene,
Mm-hmm.
and to see her reaction for it.
Yeah.
Because that's when it really starts to like
Get
blow
moving.
up. You know, it's
Yeah.
a worldwide.
And upon a rewatch, even of the first 2 episodes, I remember because we put it on one night where we were just tired, and I was like, "This is a show I've already watched episodes of. Let's just put it on for a couple episodes." And 1 and 2, I was just like, "Oh yeah, I forgot how fucking good both these episodes are."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good pretty much the whole way through. The one plot line that I didn't really care for, like it just didn't really interest me, was the Storm and Forge
Yeah.
plot line. I thought it was just a little weird.
Yeah. It was weird how they like broke it up into different episodes. Like they
Yeah.
could have just did it all in
It didn't
one.
really work for me.
Yeah.
And I knew she was gonna get her powers back because
Yeah.
obviously nothing's permanent in these series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't really interest me the way they did it.
Yeah, I need to watch that the second half of that episode again because I remember I was really into the Xavier stuff. Remember how they did the finale of that? They
Yeah.
split it between her and Xavier.
Yeah.
Him doing shit in space.
That was cool. That was
I was really into that.
yeah.
And
That was
then
a
it
big
would-
surprise, not surprise, because obviously he was alive.
Right.
Like,
I think I was more surprised when he was walking. I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool."
That's suit of
But
armor he was
anytime it
in.
went back to him, that's when I was really into it. And then it would go to like the Forge and Storm and the
Right.
demon bird shit, and I was just
like, I don't care about
it was
this
it was
right
really artistically and like animated wise a beautiful look, but I didn't care about the story going on behind. It was just
because there's another really good story going on
that I
you
wanted to get back to, and
Yeah.
it's also the episode right after the fucking
So that's maybe I
robots
would have
come and
liked
kill
it.
everybody.
Maybe I would have liked it better if they put it in a different
In just
episode,
one episode,
or yeah, just made it one episode rather than cut it out with another great episode.
yeah.
But yeah, pretty much, I would give it a 9 out of 10.
I agree. I was really into it. Like it's been a while since I've thoroughly like every week watched the new episode of show I'm watching, but
Yeah.
I've made sure I was ready to watch that.
Yeah, I was glad I could watch it the whole way through.
Yeah.
I didn't. We broke it up into a few chunks. Once we
Yeah.
got to those later chunks,
The last like 3 episodes, it's like if you don't have to put it down, why would you wanna?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good for a show, you
Yeah.
know. I love when it ends very strong, or just kept getting better. It really just kept getting better.
for sure.
till it was
And I
over.
thought all the characters were great.
Mhm.
Like, it's cool seeing them with like their original personalities and like original looks.
yeah,
Just again, because the Fox X-Men series, I feel, is just burned into everyone's minds right now of like what the main representation of X-Men is.
yeah.
But it was refreshing to see.
Very much so. Cyclops, just for the Cyclops of it all.
Yeah. Oh,
nice to have.
You realize how dirty they did him in
Right.
the live action
Oh,
when you see
fuck.
him in the animated, because this character's way better.
I knew they did him dirty at the beginning of the 3rd movie when he was just killed off screen. I was like,
yeah.
wow, they already didn't do anything with this guy, and now they just did this. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember a single cool thing live action Cyclops did. I know he did do cool things, but it was never the focus.
No.
Wolverine was the focus a lot of the time.
Oh, for sure.
For good reason.
To this day.
Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
Hugh Jackman, yeah. But I'm really looking forward to season 2 of that. It's such a good looking show. I enjoy how every episode is almost an entire comic line that they just condensed really well into an episode.
It's a great translation of the comics for people who don't want to go read the comics.
Right. Yeah. And still get like the important beats of the story.
Right.
And how it ends, I'm just like, I don't know where the fuck any of this is going with any of this.
Yeah, I had to look up a few characters because it is continuing off of the original storyline, and I don't remember any of that because I only watched it in piecemeal when I was young.
Yeah.
Which is why we're gonna go back and rewatch it. But I did have to look up a few characters and like figure out what was going on because they'll reference outside events.
Yeah.
That I don't know what they're talking about. You just kind of have to use context clues a lot of the time.
Which, work.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
That is X-Men 97.
Check it. Yeah, if anybody hasn't checked it out yet, just from the little bits you've heard Braden and I talk about in different episodes of this show.
Oh, one last thing.
10 quick episodes.
Yeah, I do have to say I love the intro as well.
Oh, of course.
I didn't want to skip it. I did skip it a few times, but
I started skipping it like at the end just because I was so into the story that I was like,
that's about when I started skipping it. But most of the time I watched it the whole way through because it's great, and I love when they just fucking run into each other.
Yeah.
It just looks like they're all gonna give themselves concussions because they just plow into each other
and then just form the title.
I laughed every time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna love the original series going back to it because it's that for lots of episodes.
I'm sure.
Neat.
Was
there anything else from the old batch that you wanted to discuss?
That's about what I would like to discuss for now. Like I started Shogun, loving it, but so far, but I feel like we should save it for a later episode.
We are holding off on our Shogun review shitters.
Yeah.
Till Braden is done and we can just do the full show.
Right. Which it
deserves it.
We're looking to get more through that. We're on episode 3 right now. We're starting to get where the story really starts to open up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, I guess that's my new old shirt. New old nerd shit. New old shirt.
Oh, your old new shirt.
My old new shirt.
Cool. So then we can just hop into new nerd shit then.
Yep.
I guess I'll go with something.
Sure.
I have a few things, and I think I'm going to go progressively from how I enjoyed them. So, like, the thing I'm most excited to talk about will be last. I have 3. But we'll go back and forth. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is just something actually I watched today. I've talked about Digimon on this show. If anybody follows this show or knows me at this point, I'm a Digimon fan.
Are you re-entering your Digimon phase?
Just maybe slightly. But I was looking up other shit this morning, like in the anime verse, and I discovered that the Digimon 02 The Beginning movie it had been released in English like a couple days ago. So I bought it and I watched it. So I don't know if you know about this movie, but remember like a couple years ago when they did it was like Ty and Matt, and they were like entering adulthood, and it was called like Digimon The Last Kizuna or something like that. They did the same
Very
type
vaguely.
of like adult versions of the season 2 kids now, and like what they're getting up to in their lives kind of movie. I watched it this morning. It was fine. It was good. It was
fine.
It was I would not say it's more Digimon. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's more Digimon.
Would you say it's more of the same?
It's more of like, in a lot of ways,
You've seen it before.
Yes and no. Like, it's only about an hour and 20 minutes. So the good thing about it is, for what they give you, for what the story is, for what's going on, it didn't need more than an hour and 20 minutes to tell that story.
Okay.
So the story is like whatever, but it does a lot of things that Digimon kind of always did do, and it really dives into like some darker tones. Like, they might not nail it through the whole story, how they're going about it.
It was always a bit more darker than
a little bit more
Pokemon.
adult, like Matt and TK had like divorced parents, and it kind of like dealt with that, and like Izzy was adopted. It was some heavy themes for a kid's show.
Right.
And now that they're adults, I mean, it leans into it even a little more for some of the story in this. So basically, this movie talks about it goes into the mythology of why kids become digidestined. And it's because this kid who was the first Digidestined got this Digimon that was connected to like a god-like figure and could grant wishes. And this kid wished for like more friends and like friends that would take care of him, friends that would like love him.
And that altered the whole universe.
And this Digimon like created the Digivices basically and like set up the Digidestined. It doesn't go super into that, but that's like part of the shit they're going on about. Like the whole time I was like, is this really why there's Digidestined? And by the end of the movie, it's like, yeah, but who cares?
A kid made a wish to God.
A kid made a wish. But like this kid, so you meet him in present day in the beginning of the movie, like the season 2 kid's all 20 years old. He's also like 20 at this point. But you learn more about him through flashbacks of his life. And it's cool because you meet this guy at first. So the movie starts off. There's a big ass Digi-Egg in the sky, and people are like losing like the country. Everybody knows about Digimon in the real world now at this point in the series.
Yeah, it's not
so everybody's like, what's going on with that? And it happens to be this dude's Digimon's egg, the one that granted the wish. So you meet him like trying to climb, and his Digivice is broken, and he's like saying some really evil shit, and you're like, what is going on here? And then they save him, and he has an eye patch on, and one of the Digimon like tussles with him a little bit, and his eye patch falls off, and his eye that is covered by an eye patch is it's a Digimon eye, like a green Digimon eye. So it was just like, what is going on with this? He's a
Digi-hybrid.
No, he's not. But you learn, like, you get this character's backstory of his life where they fall into the Digi-Egg and they all go to the past, and he's like getting abused by his mom. God. And his dad is like on a ventilator in the house and he's dying, and he like goes in there to talk to his dad, and the mom comes in because you don't know she's like abusive at first until this scene where she's just like, what the fuck is wrong? Not fuck, but like, you know, you're not allowed in here with your dad, and go watch TV. And then his mom is like, I made your favorite dinner, and he doesn't get up from the couch because he's covering that he peed his pants, and his mom just fucking comes in and is just like, what is wrong with you? Go outside. Like, oh, like super abusive. Takes like his clothes off. He has bruises all over his body.
Oh,
he's a 4-year-old boy, and he goes outside in like the cold winter, and you hear him like through his dialogue say like, I'm 4 years old today. It's my birthday.
Oh my God.
It's just like, oh my God, this theme. So like, this is our main.
You are lying. That is very dark.
Very dark. And the Digimon, he finds a Digi-Egg and it attaches into this thing that grants his wish.
Good.
And it's good, but it also is creepy. So like, this thing comes, it turns his mom like good, it saves the dad's life, it makes him have friends, but they're all like mind controlled by the wish of this Digimon. So it gets really dark, and then he takes him back to his Digivice because his parents like die at one point, and it makes him sad. So his Digimon comes and like puppeteers them back to life in this really fucked up scene. And he beats his Digivice, and his Digivice hits him, cuts his eye out, and the Digimon is like, I'll give you my eye because I just want you to be happy. It's fucking crazy, man. It's really weird. So that's our like basic story.
Way off the rails from where I expected it to
and
go.
So the Digidestined team up with this kid to like figure him out and save the world.
Right.
Because by the end of the movie, the Digimon, his partner, he like thought he killed it when he broke the Digivice, like it melted. But Digimon don't die; they just turn back into their eggs.
Yeah.
And so the big Digi-Egg in the sky attaches into a big like monster form of his Digimon, and it wants to grant his wish still, so it makes like billions of Digi-Eggs that will go to like every person on the planet, and they're just like, everyone cannot have a Digimon, like that'll get
World War III
fucking nuts. So like, that's how they're involved trying to stop this thing. And yeah,
imagine giving ISIS Digimon.
right and like that, and that's something they don't say that, but like that's what they're touching on when they say like, well, everyone can't have one of these things. Yeah. This will
there needs to be some kind of regulation.
Really bad.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting. I think I still like the Matt and Ty movie that came out a couple of years ago, but like better. But this was still fun. It was cool to see these characters.
Honestly, you interested me.
It just gets heavy.
That
all of a
gets
sudden.
way crazier than I expected.
The bruises on his body, fists in his pants.
Like sometimes the Pokemon movies can be kind of heavy.
Yeah.
But never child abuse.
Right. So, and that's what I mean when it was showing that, though. I wasn't like it, it shook me, but I was like, yeah, I guess Digimon has always kind of
been about child abuse.
Been there, you know what I mean? Like just like not afraid to shy from that. And I think that's what I've always liked about Digimon is it had like really real themes in a very kiddie just like show.
It set its own tone.
Yes. And that's why I think when they get older, you know, it allowed itself to get kind of more mature. Because I'm telling you, the scene where this kid gets his eye replaced, there's like blood coming over it while he's...
Well, and to be fair, do you think they also take into account a lot of adult fans that grew up with Digimon?
I mean, I would think entirely.
Yeah.
At this point, I just don't know anybody who would care more about the season 1 and season 2 characters other than adults.
Yeah,
who
I
saw
honestly
it.
don't know if Digimon are popular with kids anymore.
They keep making more series. To some degree, it must be, but
yeah.
I think they make these like anniversary movies specifically for us.
It would seem, because that's pretty dark for a young kid. Like, I watched Digimon when I was like 6.
Yeah, right. Me too. Yeah. And I also remember thinking like, oh, this gets kind of like...
This kid's kind of real.
I haven't rewatched the series in a long time, but I will never forget that. Yeah, Izzy got adopted, and he's dealing with that because he found out from overhearing his parents. Matt and TK's parents are divorced, and they only get to see shit. Like, it just went into some shit. Ty's dad's a fucking shit bum or some shit. Like, so when I saw a kid getting abused, I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, I guess Digimon. So it really pulls you in with that, and you slowly like see his entire backstory because it starts where like the Digimon comes and like makes his life better, but then like as the story goes on, it gets to like
with any Wish story,
is weird.
The Wish gets out of hand.
Yeah. One thing they never went into in the entire show was it didn't talk about like the character said like I'm connected to a god figure and that's why I can grant these wishes, but you never like get any more than that. I'm like, oh, I wish we would have known what the god figure was.
Honestly, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's God.
Yeah, that's fair. A Digimon God.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
What else are you gonna say about it? It's Digimon God.
Yeah. And another thing I really liked about it too is it's very prettily animated. Like it's nice to look at, and it's cool to see like a show. It's kind of like X-Men 97, but the show that I liked the way it looked back then, just way better now.
I forget which Digimon movie it is that has the really epic music during like a citywide fight scene.
Dude, it's probably just the Digimon movie.
Yeah, that I would just watch over and over again.
Yeah.
Be pumped up.
I love the Digimon.
It was my fight song for a while.
Oh man, there's so many good songs and just the Digimon soundtrack and the Digimon. Like, I'll always love and it'll always be the real version to me, the Digimon movie. But they're also re-releasing that movie, but like with actual Japanese scripting, not like how they cut it up in America to make it for us. And I'm really interested to see what that movie would be like.
Yeah.
But I love the way the Digimon movie is written, man. It's so fun. I quote it often.
Because it's written for us Americans.
Oh, it sure is.
Yeah.
It sure is. And they did it really well. I think my only problem with like modern Digimon things coming out now is like it's great that it's exactly the same script, but it loses something by not having that Americanism to it.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't say about a whole lot of anime, but Digimon was just... There's a scene in the movie where Kari and Agumon almost get hit by a fucking car, and you just hear... I think they just added the voiceover. Like, I think in the actual version, the car just speeds off, but in America, a guy's like, whoa, did you say that? He's like, I was sleeping. But you were driving! And I just love it. I love it. Great movie. So this was fun, too. This is a fun new Digimon anime. You can check it out now. Movie. Now.
Where can you find it?
I bought it on Apple, like, movies. Or
For
whatever.
how much?
$14.95. Yeah, it was, like, super cheap. So I was just like, you can... I don't... you should pay people, but, like, you could probably find this movie on the internet somewhere to just watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you pay a subscription.
No, not even then, really. I had to buy it. There was no subscription. But I bet if you Googled, like, watch this movie online, you can
yeah.
you can probably find it.
We're not saying to do that, though.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. But if you don't want to spend $14, that would be the way to go.
Right.
Don't do it.
Hypothetically.
Don't do it. But
don't do it.
That would be the way to go.
Do not do it.
So, yeah, that's one of my new nerd shits. That's a very new nerd. I just watched that this morning.
Awesome.
That's how I started my day.
Well, I'll probably never watch it. But if it ever comes out on the streaming and I remember,
I'll let
maybe.
you know. Yeah. If we weren't watching Godzilla, I'd be like, we'll put it on.
Yeah, there we go.
You can experience this crazy shit. The bruises on this kid's body. It's crazy. But it's Digimon. So that's one of my things. What do you got?
So I'll talk about the video game.
Okay.
So I recently started playing State of Decay 2, which I didn't even realize was out, but it's been out for years.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard of this game.
At this point, yeah. It's a zombie game. Originally came out on Xbox. When I still had an Xbox, or at least when I still had a working Xbox, I remember playing it and really enjoying the first game. And it's the second one is very similar to the first one. It's just a bit more polished. But essentially, you run a group of survivors in the zombie apocalypse, and you can take control of each individual survivor and have them go out and do, scouting runs, supply runs, fight zombies, advance the main story by doing some kind of quest. And it's really fun, and people can die. Everyone can die.
I hope so.
Yeah. So you can get people that you're really attached to and have for a long time, but then all of a sudden you get caught with some really bad zombies and die.
Ugh.
Yeah. And you have to either accept that. Like, the game deliberately saves
Okay.
every, so often.
Right.
But doesn't keep autosave files. It only keeps one save file.
Oh, shit.
So you deliberately can't go back
Oh, no.
and save people. You're meant to...
If they die,
you're meant to
they're
live
out.
with the consequences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So you can't save scum on this. There are mods that I looked up sometimes, but I didn't use
It's
them.
no Baldur's Gate where every decision you can literally go back on if you don't like it.
Right. There are mods that you can install that give you autosaves that you can reload, but I haven't been doing that. I've just been living with the choices and just got good at the game, so my survivors don't die. Because you can level them up. They have different skills that you can specialize them in.
But some of yours have died though. Before you got that good, yeah.
Oh yeah. The biggest threat is other survivors typically.
Of course.
Yeah.
I've seen The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's certain missions that you'll have to go up against a different enclave of survivors, and
Now, is it more fun to fight survivors or zombies?
it's more challenging to fight survivors. It's definitely a lot more high stakes because I have had people one-shotted before.
Ooh.
Characters.
Oh.
You have to shoot
Friends.
first. Yeah, friends.
Dead.
They're your friends at that point.
Oh.
You have to shoot first. Yeah.
Oh God.
And each character has
So don't get attached.
Yeah, don't get attached, but it deliberately tries to make you attached to them. That each character has individual backstories that are randomized with each one. You can customize them with different clothes and stuff, and sometimes they'll have random side missions that pop up.
This sounds really fun.
Yeah,
I might have to try
fun.
this game out.
It's super fun. Can be a little janky at times, but they're constantly updating it, I think, because I had to just recently update it. But yeah, sometimes glitches happen, but they do have a workaround in that where if you get stuck somewhere or your character can't move, you can go into this menu and choose to move your character back by 10 feet. So gets you unstuck from any situation automatically, because you can't reload a save if you get stuck.
Mm-hmm. Are characters how does this game play? Are you so you're controlling multiple characters at once?
So you can take control of one survivor at a time.
Okay.
You can. It's switching between bodies.
Okay.
And then you can enlist
so
followers.
kind of like Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can enlist followers, you can have up to 2 followers, I think, and then you can also switch between those followers, but they take damage and injuries that you have to heal, at a medical station in your base. Base building's cool because there's different base locations on the map that you can go to. You can set up outposts for ammunition and food and all that.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and then obviously the more survivors you recruit, the stronger you become, but you also have to get more resources then, because you don't want to starve.
Right. Oh,
because then they'll start random events will start happening where they'll get into fights. And,
God.
Some if their morale gets too low, sometimes they'll get into they'll accidentally kill one another in a fight or something. Yeah.
Some drama.
Yeah, because they all have their own personalities and they can interact with each other in different ways.
You know how you like reality TV?
Yeah.
You're a big fan of it. I feel like this game is a zombie reality TV.
It basically is, because the game deliberately tries to get you to attach to the characters, because you can only have up to 12 in a camp before, that's the hard game cap. I think 12. I saw online, when you get up to 9 survivors, that's the soft cap of the game, where the game will stop sending you recruits to recruit in random events. But you can get it up to 12 if sometimes you can ally with another enclave and befriend them and make them join you. But like you can't get more than 12.
Okay, so I was actually picturing more people just like living in your wherever you're set up, but 9 is the cap.
Sometimes
How many do you have?
I have 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're pretty far into the game at this point.
Oh yeah, I've already taken over the one map and like done all this like main quest stuff I need to do there. And then when you get to that point, because you can, so like what's different in this game is you can elect a leader, and like that leader will have like different traits that determine your enclave's play style. And so I elected a leader with a warlord style trait.
Yeah.
So we had to like go to war with different factions and like take over the map in that way. And when you get to the end of that quest line, you get like a special perk that if you start up a future survivor group, like that perk will start with them. So since I completed the warlord quest line, if I want to start a new game, I'll have like a lot of starting guns and ammunition.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And like you can have different leader types. Like there's builder, sheriff, I forget the other one, like trader, I think.
Trader.
Yeah.
Trader. Okay, so I've only ever like seen the name of the game, and I've seen it like on sale on Steam and shit all the time. I've never really looked into it. So you've kind of taught me a lot about this game, and
you should look into it.
I'm
it's
certainly interested.
Fun to dive into. It's easy to dive out of.
I used to be a big Walking Dead fan, so like anything that's like, it sounds like you're kind of just playing The Walking Dead.
Yeah, because you can play the same group of survivors for as long as you want. Like they give you the option to switch maps, then and like start at a new town with the same group of people you have, or you can start a completely new
with new people
group. I switched with the group I had because we're like
family.
We're a family at this point. So
yeah, you'll probably lose some, but
we took out the coalition together. So
why give up now?
Yeah,
you take out. I don't know who else is there.
Other zombies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And one last thing is like the game will have like random events where like all of a sudden the zombies explode when you shoot them, or all of a sudden these certain types of zombies are like super tough now.
So you gotta keep your distance sometimes.
Yeah, so like it keeps it fresh because like there's always like new stuff happening and like new challenges.
Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah,
like a zombie apocalypse should.
Yeah, and like you can get to the point where you're pretty good at the game where you have very few survivors die, but every once in a while you like get cocky and
it costs you somebody you love.
Well, the panic of like when a survivor gets down to low health that you really like, you're like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. But at that point, like his stamina's fucked, his health is fucked. So like he can't, like he's really slow.
You just have to accept that he's dead.
Yeah, but I have gotten away from a few sticky situations where like they've both, like the two characters I had were both at low health and like about to be overrun, and we managed to get to a car and drive away.
What happens if everybody dies? So you gotta just start
lose. Yeah, you have to start over.
You've decayed.
Yeah, we've decayed.
In a state of decay.
Yep. And time is constantly passing. So each day more resources get spent that you have to like go out and scavenge to find more, or build facilities to make them for you.
Different weather in different areas?
Sometimes, yeah.
I am gonna check this out. This sounds pretty fun.
You should.
Yeah. You got it on Steam.
Yeah.
The Steamer.
You can find it on Steam. You can find it on Xbox Live.
Yeah, I think I've actually seen it maybe even on Game Pass, which that would be
You need to sign into your Xbox
awesome.
account to play it on Steam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, then I bet it is on Game Pass. Maybe I will check that out.
It probably is, because it's originally meant to be an Xbox game.
The only thing better than a good game is a free good game.
That's right.
That's what I say. Cool.
Yeah. Oh, if you could get it for free, definitely pick it up.
Yeah, if it's on Game Pass, then I just could download it on
and one is good, but I would recommend 2 because 2 is just one but better.
Yeah, that's what I'm about. The best version of a game, especially that kind of game.
Like you're not missing out on anything from 1 because 1 is the same as 2.
You're making your own story, so it's not a super story focused.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that they reference in 1 is that like they have the original map from the first game that you can go to.
Yeah.
And redo, but they have a lot of new maps now too.
Just be all new to me.
Yep.
Cool. I dig that.
I dig it.
Yeah. All right.
So
My turn again.
Yep.
My turn again.
Tossing the puck to you.
I don't know what that was, but so I talked about on the last episode with Sam and Kai how I had just finally recently watched Mad Max Fury Road. We talked about that. And
I was going to ask you if you've actually watched it at this point.
Fury Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because you didn't watch it for the longest time, I was so mad at you for that. For a while.
didn't watch it till 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When I thought Furiosa. So I told the story on the last episode, so I won't go into it too much. But essentially, Miranda and I went to see Furiosa a week early, and had to go see it the following week. So now I've seen both Furiosa and Fury Road.
That's an interesting first time watching experience.
I had a really good time watching
I'm sure
Fury
you
Road.
did.
I had a really.
I hear I know Fury Road's an amazing movie, and I hear Furiosa is also really good.
So Fury Road. I think one mistake I made for Furiosa was watching Fury Road like a week before.
Right.
It was like very fresh on my mind.
You had to let it marinate a little.
Right. But I'm here to talk about Furiosa now. They all heard me talk about Fury Road before, so I don't need to get into that. But Furiosa, I really liked Furiosa. The things that Furiosa did really well, I really liked about it. There were things that lacked for me, especially from just seeing Fury Road, that I was like the driving and fight, like in the action scenes, were not as done as well as the ones in Fury Road.
Yeah, because it's probably...
They're still good.
Yeah, it's a different kind of story. Like, Fury Road is all one big car chase and one timeline, pretty much.
Well, that's the thing. I think that both of these movies go really well together. They're two halves of the same coin.
Yeah.
Because Fury Road is just an action movie that it's a thin plot, really.
Yeah.
But it's there, and you follow it, and
a lot of times
the action's so good.
The best action movies have the thinnest of plots.
Right, and it works, and it's still got a decent plot for what it is. The characters.
I'm still invested.
Right, but it's mostly all fucking action. But for Furiosa, it is a more plot-centered, story-focused movie.
That's what it certainly looked like from the trailers.
And it was. And like when it went to the action scenes, it had action scenes. Don't get me wrong, it had a lot of action scenes, but they weren't done as well. You tell they used more green screen and shit, and than they did.
Practical.
Way less, which was, I don't mind, but there's a noticeable difference. It was very like the Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit movie kind of looks for those specific scenes. But what it did in story was so well done that it was like, okay, it's picking up for the slack of the other movie.
Does it flesh out the world a lot more?
It fleshes out the world. You spend a considerable amount of time in Bullet Farm and Gastown.
I remember you saying that.
And kind of seeing like the history of those places a little bit, at least history that happened before the Fury Road movie.
Yeah, which I was interested in because, the first movie, you're from perspective of Max, who's an outsider.
Right.
So, you're just getting a snippet of this society.
Yeah.
And it worked really well for that movie because it left you wanting more. Oh, let's see. This is an interesting world, but they did just enough world building to where you get an idea of what it's like. But I feel like, that if they were to do one thing well with Furiosa, that would be it. It'd be to actually
they did
expand upon it.
And they did a really good job. Like, it's still like those people in those places. It's that we already know about, but more of it.
Yeah.
And they're younger, just a bit younger. And honestly, Anya Taylor-Joy doesn't show up until like almost an hour into the movie. So you are with very young Furiosa.
How long is it?
It's 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
It's a half hour longer than the other one. But the first hour is literally like kid Furiosa, like getting to where she gets to before she becomes Anya Taylor-Joy.
Well, that's probably a big part of her backstory.
It's a really good fucking part of the movie. Yeah, it was really good. And because the movie starts off, you start in the green place. So the place they're trying to get to for 3/4 of Fury Road, that when they get there, they're like, it's gone.
It's fucked, yeah.
It's there in this movie. Like, she gets captured from there, Furiosa. And it's this beautiful green jungle area. And she gets captured by this random, like, biker gang that were just happen to find it. And Furiosa's mom is part of, like, the women in charge of the society. So they're like, we have to kill any outsider. So it's this... The beginning of the movie is kind of like a chase scene through the desert as these people take Furiosa back to their camp. And the mom's just on a fucking manhunt, killing people. That stuff I did enjoy quite a bit. And then eventually you meet up with the bad guys ran by Thor Odinson. Chris Hemsworth as Demetrius. I think his name is Demetrius.
Oh, is he not Immortan Joe?
He's not Immortan Joe.
Oh.
No, he's a totally different guy. Totally different guy.
Trailer's completely wrong.
Yeah, totally different. Immortan Joe's in the movie, but it's him. Yeah.
So Immortan Joe's not in charge.
Well, no, it's a different gang. She gets captured by a completely different... These people take her to the Citadel about 20 minutes after they get her. But, like, yeah. Thor, he's Demetrius. He's or Dementis. I think his name is Dementis. And he is such a cool character. I think when Chris Hemsworth just gets to be wacky, and it's in a world that'll make sense for somebody to be this wacky.
And he's a villain.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot. So he rides like a chariot of like 3 Harley Davidson motorcycles like put together.
That's cool.
So one of my gripes about the movie was there was so much shit I'd never seen before in the first movie. Like everything seemed very like fresh ideas, fresh concepts. With this one, there was nothing that seemed super fresh other than like, because it was all the same. It was stuff I'd already seen, which is fine. It's a prequel.
We've already
the characters,
seen a guy
the world,
playing a guitar with no face.
Sure, and he showed
fire.
up at one point at the end. Like, but there was nothing to add to that other than I thought that 3-bike chariot that Thor rode, because, and I don't know, I think that just takes away. But that's not the movie's fault. It's because the other movie was so good at that that when it came to this movie didn't.
It's very hard to live up to the expectation.
That shock value. But luckily, like I said, the story's really fun. You get to see, because the whole story is like this Demetrius guy captures Furiosa's mom, kills her in front of her. So like it's a revenge story. Yeah. And then she's captured by him. He ends up selling her to Immortan Joe, and that's how she ended up there. And then this guy later in the movie kills another character that's very close to Furiosa. And so it's just like she just wants to kill Thor so fucking bad. And it does that whole storyline.
Yeah, this completely changed the perception I had of the movie. Because I thought this whole time he was Immortan Joe.
No.
Just young.
No.
And hot.
No. Immortan Joe is just the same dude in this movie. Because it's, I think it's supposed to be like 10 years before once she's Anya Taylor-Joy, 10 years before Mad Max. I could be wrong on that number, but... And Anya Taylor-Joy, like, I believe that is a young Charlize Theron. It's the second movie this year that they've been like, Anya Taylor-Joy, we need you to be a younger version of a character that has blue eyes, and they give her blue contacts again. But it worked. and she talks, so like when she spoke, I was like, yes, that sounds just like
Charlize
Theron as Furiosa.
I was a bit disappointed that she wasn't gonna be in this.
Yeah,
but
it makes sense. I mean, I get it.
Anya Taylor-Joy's a great actress, so
does a great job. She has long hair almost the whole movie until she finally like cuts it at the end to finally look like. You get the origin of her hand, like how her hand became like a robot arm.
Right. How she lost her hand.
Right. Yeah. The origin of her hand is that her mom fucked her dad.
Spontaneously become into a robot arm.
Hey, how do you think her mom fucked her dad?
Her mom fucked her dad?
How do you think her mom... wait, hold on. Yeah. How do you think Furiosa's mom fucked her dad? Furiosely. Okay. Moving on.
Good. Very good.
Thank you. Just came to me. But her dad's not in the movie, so I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
But yeah,
not important.
It's a good time at the movies, I thought. But like I said, I had just watched. It's like reading a book before you see the movie. Like I was like, yeah, this is good. But I mean, Fury Road is still a better movie. But that's a really fucking good movie. If something's not as good as a really good fucking movie,
that's okay.
It's still a good movie,
right?
And you get a lot of backstory. You learn, like I said, more about the Citadel, more about the War Boys, more about Gastown and shit. Yeah. And there's a fun plot line that goes along with it. And the action that does happen, don't get me wrong, it's not like boring action like Indiana Jones, the fifth one was. It's still fun action. It's just compared to how good it is in the other one, it's night and day.
Probably less of it just because there's less of an opportunity.
Even the way it's shot's just less. I don't know. It's less compelling to me. I still think you should see this movie in a movie theater. I wish I would have saw Fury Road in a movie theater.
So you would see this more for like a story with action than an action story.
Yes. I mean, that's why it's a prequel. It's more than just a prequel. It's the more I thought about throughout the week since we've seen it, I've just been like, yeah, these movies complement each other very well.
Yeah.
Where the other one doesn't have the craziest of stories, this one is all story.
Have you ever played the Mad Max game?
I've not ever played the Mad Max game. I've heard about it. I would like.
I've played it.
I've been getting more into Mad Max since we watched Fury Road.
I played Mad Max in Hawaii, or not Hawaii, Malawi. Fuck.
Dude, you fucking lived Mad Max in Hawaii. Africa. Jesus.
No, I remember playing it in Malawi.
Yeah?
And people watched me play it.
Wait, so it's what? It's a PS4 game?
I got it on Steam.
It's on Steam.
Someone gifted it to me on Steam.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's nice of them. Share the load, man. Pass the torch.
Yeah. I can.
I know, I'll find it.
Your birthday is coming up.
My birthday is coming up. I'm interested. It's a fun game. You liked it?
I loved it.
You loved it?
I loved
oh,
it,
that's
yeah.
good. That's really good.
Yeah, I would love to actually talk about it sometime, but not today.
I'll play it. I will play it, and we can talk about it.
I haven't played it since Malawi.
Yeah, it's a couple years.
But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I bet. The setting is perfect.
You really feel like Mad Max Road Warrior. You just drive around in your cool car and fuck people up.
Nice. It's like Grand Theft Auto in the Wasteland.
Basically.
Fuck. That's pretty cool.
The car fights are like some of the most fun fights.
Car fights are the best thing about the fucking first movie is the car fights.
Yeah.
But like it's the whole first movie.
Yeah, I won't talk much more about it, but like the car fights are fun and like the hand-to-hand combat's fun too.
You've piqued my interest.
Yeah.
My torque is full. Just thinking
you're
about
fully
it.
Torqued?
I'm not fully torqued. I'm
maybe
just,
70, 75.
It's full. It's like thinking about it.
Yeah. Small one of those.
It's like
perhaps like
I'm in a Mad Max sort of phase. Fury Road really impressed me.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
While you're interested in it.
Yeah.
Because I love the world of Mad Max.
Yeah. And I want to know more about it. And like, I'll reiterate, that's what Furiosa kind of does more, is gives you more of that lore. And we love lore here.
We love lore.
We love lore. It's like, comparatively, it's like what the Dark Crystal Netflix series did for the Dark Crystal movie on Netflix, or the original Dark Crystal movie.
Have you ever seen any of the originals with Mel Gibson?
I haven't. No, and I want to. No, I've never seen any.
I think I watched the one with the Thunderdome.
I've heard that's one of the best ones.
When I was really young. Yeah.
I do want to watch those too.
And I watched the Australians review them.
Yes.
And yeah, the first one is
not
very different from the other ones. It's like when society's like just starting to collapse. So like things are still relatively normal, but like just crime is getting really bad.
Yeah. That's interesting because I was trying to place where, like, how long the world has been fucked up to get to this point too. Because like at the beginning of Fury Road, he's like, I used to be a cop.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. But then we watched this movie about Furiosa as a kid, and I was like, when was he a fucking cop? Because 20 years ago, she was a kid, and the world was still fucked up. When were you a cop that the world wasn't fucked up?
Yeah, canonically, he's like in his 50s or maybe even 60s.
Okay.
He's supposed to be an old man,
right?
But it's Tom Hardy, so
right. It's Tom Hardy 10 years ago, so not an old man.
There's been, like, I don't know if it's. I guess my headcanon is that they call him a full life, so maybe he can just live a lot longer.
Maybe. I don't know much about any of that shit, so
half-lives. Or...
I have to give Fury Road a reroad. Yeah, I'm gonna get into a lot of Mad Max shit throughout the coming days. But I really enjoyed the first one, and the second one, though not as good, still really fucking good.
What would you give it out of 10?
What would I give it out of 10? I mean,
we're doing out of 10 scores now.
It's got a banging story.
How many shits in the bowl?
How many shits in the bowl? In a bowl, in a bowl that holds 10 shits. It holds, I'd say an 8.5 to 9 shits.
Okay.
I'd say if I was just looking at the bowl and I was like, how many shits do I got to drop in that? How many shits do I think I can fit in that? 8.5 or 9. I could argue either way. It was good, but like if Fury Road's a 10, this is an 8.5 to a 9.
There you go.
Okay. So there. That's what I got to say about that.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, should I talk about my last news art sheet?
Yes, you should. You and then I have one more, and then we'll get to watching.
After I tickled your interest earlier.
Yeah. Go.
So I recently started The Outer Banks with Kaylee. She's seen it before and she loves it. Okay. She wanted me to start it with her.
I know just a little bit about this show.
Yeah, and it's
not much though.
The preview, it is very much aimed towards young adults. Like
it's like a CW show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically, the characters in it are supposed to be 16, but they don't look anything like 16-year-olds. It's always funny when the story reminds you that they're 16 because the one dude's like got to be like 25.
Always, dude, always.
Which I'm fine with. They're all really good actors.
The only thing I know about this show is how attractive the people in it are.
Yeah.
So I know they're not 16.
Yeah. So basically, it's... How do I describe this? It's basically the first season, at least, is a kind of a treasure hunt story that goes on in the Outer Banks. So, like, the main character and all of his friends belong to the group known as the Pogues, which are like all the poor people that live on the south side of the
Pogies.
The south side of the Outer Banks. So,
Yeah.
like, they're like on islands. So, like, they live on like the southern part of an island.
Okay.
And it's where like all the working class people live, and then like their rivals are the Kooks, which are the rich kids and the rich people who live on the nicer part of the island.
Okay.
And it's all like, you know, the vacationers and tourists and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like they go into like how these kids kind of do whatever they want because no one cares about them and like their parents aren't around, so like they just go around and drink and party and, you know, break into shit and surf and work. And
I've seen surfing things from it.
Yeah, but like it's kind of like, you know, romanticizes this lifestyle while still showing that like not everything's great for them. Like, you know, their parents aren't around, or like the one kid's dad's abusive. And,
just like Digimon.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep. So it goes into that, but like the main cast has a really good chemistry, and the main character, his name is, they call him John B. I don't know why. But his father disappeared like 8 months before the story began. He narrates episodes and stuff, but his dad disappeared 8 months before, searching for the shipwreck of the Royal Merchant, which was like this old Spanish galleon or English galleon, some old galleon that had $400 million worth of gold on it when it went down like somewhere near the Outer Banks, but no one's ever been able to find it. And like his dad was obsessed with trying to find this ship, and they think he got lost at sea and they just never found his body. But then like a mystery starts to unfold where like there's, you know, a hurricane that comes into town and it like stirs up a bunch of shit, and like these shady people are like operating around town looking at like, you know, in places that they're not supposed to be, and then they start finding dead bodies, and like, you know,
wow,
there's an implication that this is like a town-wide conspiracy. Like a lot of people are in on it, but we're not sure what the conspiracy is. Like some of the cops are kind of corrupt, like the, you know, people from the Kooks end are corrupt and people from the Pogues end are corrupt.
Yeah, this is not what I thought this show was at all.
Yeah, and like the main character,
The Kooks.
yeah, John B, starts to
Kooks.
have suspicions that his dad might be alive somewhere.
Yeah. I started thinking that myself.
Yeah, but since he's 16 years old, he's technically an unaccompanied minor because his uncle's supposed to be looking after him, but his uncle's been away on a job for like months and hasn't been around.
God damn it.
So like he has to deal with BCS.
Just this rogue 16-year-old
He's
just
basically
living
a
on
rogue
his own
16-year-old. He
with
has
the
to
body of a 25-year-old man.
He eventually becomes a fugitive because he's literally running from DCS, and his friends also commit several major crimes. They find a gun at one point, and like their one friend JJ is kind of an idiot, but he like takes the gun, and like they let him have this gun for way too long. Like he has this gun the whole season, and he always does stupid shit with it.
Yeah,
like he like holds it up against a guy's head that they were fighting at one point, and like threatened to shoot him. And so yeah, they commit multiple crimes, and it's all about how, like, you know, how do we find this ship without committing more crimes, because we're all about to go to jail.
We're gonna find my dad, but when we're done,
we're going straight.
We're going straight to jail. Well, we're going to juvie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he is threatened with juvie.
I bet.
Several
16
times.
years old.
Yep. 16 years old, drinking, smoking, partying. And,
Well, his uncle left him alone. What the fuck did he think was gonna happen?
Yep, and committing all sorts of crimes.
Oh my god.
Yep, and
And that's just the first season?
this is just the first season. We're not even done.
Are you still in the first season?
Yes,
How many seasons are there?
3, I believe.
Okay.
So
you got a long way to go still.
yeah, but season 1, it's going great so far.
It's a totally different show than how I pegged it.
Yeah.
It literally, by everything I've ever seen about it, just looks like a teen, drama.
It actually gets really compelling, and you start to like I was on the edge of my seat a few times because it does suspense really well because like there's some unhinged characters that sometimes go off because like it kind of goes into like it's almost like a turf war or a gang war between the kooks and the pogues. Like the kid, like it's always the kids. Like the adults don't really partake in the hostilities usually, but the kids are always fighting each other and like
it's like Dazed and Confused, where the dystopian teenage society. Yeah,
they're like jumping each other, sinking each other's boats, like doing all sorts of crazy shit.
Sinking each other's boats.
Yeah. There's boating is very prevalent in this.
Duh. You wouldn't have a
That's another thing. They all have boats, so they just go like.
You think they're gonna find his dad?
Fuck around. Oh yeah, I think that's what they're heading towards. But most recent episode kind of implied he might be dead, but they've always thought he might be dead.
It's a good way to keep people watching if you go back and forth on that a lot.
Yeah.
Classic CW trick.
But I don't think he's dead. But there are dead people showing up.
That's scary. So this is not what I thought it was at all.
Yep.
I'm going to ask for updates. I probably won't watch this, but
I will update
I'm curious.
You if it keeps up the momentum.
Yeah.
Keeps me interested. And doesn't go the way of other CW shows. Because, like, I liked some CW shows.
For sure.
I loved The Flash. Until that got weird later on.
See, I always saw this show as, like, a One Tree Hill type of series. But it's a little different.
Don't get me wrong. There is,
like that
romance stuff. But, the romance is a lot more, I don't know, high stakes. It can get a little bit more high stakes. Because, like, it's like, there's, like, a Romeo-Juliet situation kind of.
Of course there is.
Yeah.
Why would you have the cooks and the...
The girl, you've watched Glass Onion, Knives Out.
Yes.
The girl who plays Whiskey in that.
Okay.
She is in this show.
Main character.
She's a main character.
Okay.
She's the kook princess.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a great honor.
Yeah.
Queen of the Kooks.
But she's good in it.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to see how long the silence could last.
It's lasted, looks to be about 3 or 4 seconds. Sounds good. You always have something that catches me off guard, man.
I know.
Always off guard.
Wild
but
card.
I appreciate it. I mean, like I said, I'm curious enough now that I'm going to want to know how this
like
mystery
I said,
goes.
it's one of Kaylee's favorite shows, and I see why. It is very interesting. It's captured me.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what I was saying about that Lock and Key show. Like, it's not the best thing ever made, but like the mystery and the story is interesting enough that like, whatever. If it gets dumb, you just roll with it.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge One Tree Hill fan, so I was never.
Oh, I know you are.
I was never against the idea of this show. Now it's almost more compelling.
Yeah, it's much more action adventure than One Tree Hill. Like it uses suspense a lot more than like any romantic tension.
Yeah.
Though there is romance.
Of course.
Yeah. Because it's a teen show at the end of the
day. It's real
life,
man, and there's romance in real life.
Yeah, and there's these teens, going off, breaking the law, surfing.
Yeah.
Stuff's going to happen.
It's going to give real life teenagers the idea that that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Keep in mind, these are all like 25-year-olds.
Yeah, fuck. I thought they were done doing that. I thought we grew up as a culture and we started casting teenage kids as teenage kids.
Yeah, well, especially because it is weird that in the context that they're supposed to be 16-year-olds and like.
But you're also supposed to be attracted to them.
Yeah, there's also like a lot of salacious shots of them, and I'm like, this is just weird when I'm reminded that they're supposed to be 16.
Yeah.
The one dude is.
But you feel better about yourself when you know they're not.
I gotta look up the one dude's age because he literally. At one point, I didn't think the show was actually trying to make him 16 because I did not believe it for 1 second. But at one point, his mom is just like, I thought when you turned 16 that you would have started to take more responsibility. And I was like really confused for a second. I was like, what, like 5 years ago she thought that? And I was like, oh no, he's supposed to be 16.
16 right
this
now.
Adult man sitting in her room.
Fucking jailbait. But luckily so is the rest of the town, so it's all okay.
Because I know what 16-year-olds looks like.
Of course you do.
Being a teacher and
right.
all. They are little weird
Not even
weirdos.
the oldest one looks like that.
Yeah.
Or the oldest looking one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought with like Stranger Things and all that other shit, we've really grown as a society. CW has got to be themselves, though. They got to be themselves. They know what works.
They got to bring the sex appeal.
Yeah.
But they still got to pretend like they're marketing to young children.
Yeah.
It's good though.
I'd like to get into the mind of the people that make this stuff and why they like what's in their heads. Why do they make shows?
What was in Dan Schneider's head?
That's neither here nor there.
Have you watched any of Quiet on Set?
No, still haven't. But I've heard things. Have you?
Looking back on it, I'm like, how dumb are we?
So you've seen it?
I've seen the first 2 episodes.
Okay, nice. Don't blame yourself, man. We were kids.
But
too.
they show scenes that I remember watching that I look at now and I'm like, oh wait.
Oh shit.
That was weird at the time, wasn't it?
I'll have to check it out, man. I'll have to check it out. I've seen
Quick
it enough
aside,
about
it's Quiet on Set. We're not going to talk about this right now.
We've talked about it a little bit in a different episode too.
Yeah.
So. But you didn't watch any of it then either, so you've at least
I have to be in the right mood to watch it, which is almost never.
Fair enough. Maybe I'll check it out in the van someday. I got a lot of things I want to just check out, and I've just freed up a lot of my time by beating a game that I'm about to talk about. So, dude,
do tell.
I played a game that just took me, like it came out last week, but it might be one of my favorite video games of all time. It might circle the top 10. I don't know where on it, but I'm
playing a lot of favorite video games of all time recently.
Well, I've been playing a lot of games. Not a whole lot get onto my favorite of all time.
Yeah, the best list.
But I do play. I've played a lot of good ones lately. This one captured me, and this one is the remake of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door for the Switch.
Ooh.
God fucking damn, did I lose myself to this game. Now, let me tell you how much I lost myself to this game a little. I was planning for this week's episode to be where I talk about Hellblade 2, because it came out also last week.
I remember seeing it coming out.
I wanted to start playing it. I was going to start playing it. I did start playing it. But then Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door came out, and I just started picking at it. I was like, it's a fun little Mario game.
Yeah,
I had played, little backstory, I had played Paper Mario on the N64 when I was like a kid.
I loved Paper Mario when I played it.
I played it a couple times. I didn't remember a whole lot about it. So when Thousand-Year Door came out on GameCube, I had no interest. I've never played it until now. Holy fucking God, do I love every single aspect of this game. Oh my God. Have you ever played the Thousand-Year Door?
No.
You should get it for your Switch.
I probably will.
Because it's so... Because like...
I honestly forget that I can get Paper Mario on the Switch.
Well,
I forget that I can get all like the Wii
it.
and Nintendo games that I used to love. Like I could probably find that on the Switch.
Yeah, they just re-released it. They remade it. So like they've changed like things. You know, it's like a reskin, redo. So it's definitely the better version. I've watched like clips from like changes between the GameCube version and this version. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I played like this version of this game.
Right.
Like it still looked great, but like the perfect version of this game, dude. I had so much fun. Paper Mario: Thousand-Year Door. You've played Paper Mario, so you know the gameplay style. It's this awesome mix of it looks like a storybook, a pop-up book, and it's a mix of RPG elements and platforming elements, which is Mario.
Right.
And
that's classic Mario.
It's such a good combo. Like when I first went into this game, I was like, do I like the idea of playing Mario where it's not where like I think the idea of Paper Mario where you're just playing Mario but he's paper would be really fun. Am I gonna like the RPG aspect of it? I fucking loved the RPG aspect of it. Battles were fun, and not being in battles were fun. The overworld, the way the game looks, the way it hides, like it's 3D but in a 2D setting.
There's always something to do.
There's something like behind, like if you can get behind something, there's usually hidden items behind. It's all, about perspective and like,
oh yeah, I remember the original game, and that is one of the coolest mechanics.
You get all these characters that come with you that have abilities in the overworld that you have to use to solve puzzles and like things, and they're great in battle as well.
Are they like pixels like the one game, or
pixels,
or like the little companion guys that you get that float around you and do different things?
Yeah, they like follow you. Yeah. It's just like the first Paper Mario, but just looks a little.
I think they were called pixels.
Crisper. I don't know. They're just my companions, but. Like one bitch can like blow wind, so like sometimes there's things like hidden behind like paper that you can't see, so she has to blow shit. Or you can blow enemies so they're like spinning before you go up and start a fight with them. Or like the turtle, you can shoot shells at shit. Like the Yoshi, he runs faster and can like jump over stuff, and it's such a cool, the back and forth of like you're always playing a game. Whether like some RPGs you're just running around till you play the game.
Right.
This is like you're doing stuff, and even when in battles, you're doing more stuff. And that's where I think Nintendo really rocks, because like they're one of the first people to do this, where like they always make their games not just good games, but they are fun to play. Like not only are the stories well, because the story in this is also awesome, so fucking funny. That the writers for Mario shit are so fucking funny.
I remember Mario games always being very
they're
fun
funny. They're it's a really fun type of humor, but they make the action and the fighting in this just fun to play with. Like if you're gonna use your hammer, you have to hold back on the toggle until it charges and then let it go to like slam stuff, or like hit A to do more damage, or every companion has a different way to control the way they're gonna do
involved.
You have to tap A a bunch for the bomb guy to go off, or hold A till he gets to a certain point and let go to let the bomb go off. Like you pick a move and then you gotta do it in the fight, and then when people come at you, you can guard, or you can slap them back to counter, and it's just like, fuck, this is compelling. And also, you're on a stage, and people are watching you, and they could throw shit at you, so you gotta, like, in the middle of your fight, hit a button so they don't throw a rock at you and do damage, or, like, the stage sometimes falls on you. Like, it's a fucking fun battle system, man. It's just a fun game to play, whether you're fighting or just running around.
It certainly sold me.
I put 36 hours into this game, and I've done basically everything. Like, not a lot of games, I'll beat the story and then I'm done. No, I did the 100 challenge where you go down a pipe 100 times and fight guys and then have to fight a big boss at the end.
Okay, so like the actual story you'd say is like 40 hours. But
I'd say the actual story took me about 30 hours.
Okay.
And then with the extra shit I did, it added another 6 to 7.
So it's actually
but the
not
extra
a
stuff is
huge...
fun too.
Yeah, it's not a huge time
it's
sink.
not a huge time sink.
That's why I got burnt out on Tears of the Kingdom. I am going to go back to it.
Yeah.
But like I'm at the point where pretty much I just need to fight Ganon.
Yeah.
That's usually where I start to get burnt out on those games.
Sure. I mean, that's a good... Yeah,
especially with those games once I do this,
yeah,
I'm not gonna feel a big drive.
And that's what I sort of thought with Paper Mario as well. I was like, well, I'm gonna finish this and I'll probably be done. But I had just so much fun playing this game. I was like, well, I could do the 100 pipe challenge. I could do the wrestling, because there's like a wrestling world that you go to where you're part of like a wrestling tournament.
So there is still plenty of stuff to do in the game besides just the story.
There's so much stuff to do in the game. So and the story is still just doing fun stuff. All the worlds that you go to, there's like 7 different worlds that you go to get these stars to open the 1,000-year door. And they're all just so different and unique, and everything you're doing. Like the first level, you go to this pretty town that there's a dragon, and you have to go to the castle and fight the dragon, and so you're in a castle themed area. But then like the next world is like a forest, another one's a beach, so another one's like a dark town. And
tough to get bored from it,
right? You're always doing like the one world you're on a train and there's a murder mystery, and you're trying to solve the murder mystery throughout the entire portion of that game.
That's fun.
And like the one, you're in a wrestling thing, so you do a wrestling tournament. So like it's like an anime. They're different arcs. You're just doing different things.
Are there things in every world that you can go back to and do, or they're only...
Yeah, because it's like a Metroidvania too, where like you get new abilities. So like, oh, I should go back to this area where like I got the bomb guy, and like I now know with him there were walls throughout the games that had like cracks in them.
Oh yeah.
And so you can now go back to those spots and like get that extra shit. It encourages you to revisit things. And a lot of times the way you're solving the main storyline is by revisiting things and using your new powers.
So it makes it a cozy world to want to stay in.
And it's just pretty to look at too. It's a good looking game. It looks so pretty on the Switch, and god damn, and it's all not voice acted, but Mario goes okay, like he's always responding to like the things people are saying to him. My only real gripe with the game, and it's not entirely a bad thing, but there is a fuck ton of talking. There's a fuck ton of characters. Just,
one of those click-through games.
Oh my god! But you should read it because it is funny. But there's so much of it, and there's times where they like abuse it. There were 2 instances where like I felt like this was abused. There was a part where these 2 characters who ran away together and like fell in love, and they lost their ring and they were looking for it, and the guy was like, oh, it's fine, we can leave it. And she got mad at him, so she was like, you're gonna have to tell me you love me 100 times. And he was like, 100 times? That's so many times. And then you sit there and click 100 times. There's a counter in the bottom as he says, I love you. And Mario's like falling asleep, like waiting for them. It's funny, but it's also like, dude, I just want to play this game. Because
Maybe
it's
that
such a fun game to play that you almost, even though it's funny, you're like, I just want to go.
You think the joke was on you?
I don't know, a little, yeah, I do.
They're kind of poking fun at that they know that people click through these all the time.
There was another. I still read it though. I just quick read, but I try to get through. Like, you know, like you don't have to. Right. There was one thing that I had to look up. So like the game is rather challenging at times, but like easy enough for anybody to solve. But there was one thing I had to look up because I didn't really get it. And after I figured it out, I was like, this fucking game. But there was this, when I got the bomb guy who became a part of my party, he was like asleep in his room. And they were like, do you want to try to wake him up? And you'd say yes. And Mario would jump on him. And then he wouldn't wake up. So you had the option to try again or say no. And I was like, well, I must need a different item. Or like sometimes I'd go back, I'd jump on him a few times to see if that did anything, and it didn't. So I'm like running around, I'm looking for like what I'm supposed to solve. Like, am I missing something? I'm using the hint button even to like tell me what I should do. And she's like, go wake him up. And I'm like, well, how the fuck do I wake him up? So I finally had to look it up, and it was just like, I had to jump on this motherfucker like 12 times, and then he woke up. And I was just like, that's such a ridiculous amount of things to try.
Really test your patience.
Yes. So there's
especially
things like
with
that.
No indication that it's working. I would do it 3 times maybe and be like, all right, this isn't working.
Once I knew what to do, I started kind of really paying attention, and like the sentence it would say back to you was like, it was saying the same shit, but it was like it was worded a little different. So then I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I was supposed to pick up on this very minute clue to be like, yeah, jump on him for a ridiculous amount of time. And it's like funny in the Mario aspect. And there's a couple other things kind of like that too that I'm just like, oh
the
boy,
game's kind of playing with you a little bit.
Yeah, like I wouldn't have known this. Like, ugh. So, but that was like the only thing I really looked up how to do in the game. So I was like, that's fine, because like I tried to jump on him before. I only didn't know I had to do it a fuck ton in a row. But other than that, very minute gripe. Love this game, and like it's challenging enough that you're always having a good time. I was never too worried, but the final boss of the game, stupid strong,
yeah,
dude. Stupid strong. And you had like there was kind of a strategy to it that the other matches in the game really didn't have to it. So it was like, oh, this really throws you to the wolves,
right?
And then the final like hidden boss post game bosses too are like that too, where it's just like, oh, this is a totally different method of fighting than I've played the whole time. But for the most part, very easy.
Was it fun though?
Dude, so fucking fun.
That's what you weren't like. It wasn't like a frustrating hard. It was a fun hard.
I got frustrated at the 100 one where I had to go down and do 100 battles. So this was a 3-hour endeavor to get to the bottom where it was just like, oh, you have to fight this big ass dragon here at the very end that has 200 HP, and you used up a lot of your items to get here. So I was like, fuck, if I die, I gotta go do 100 of them again to get to this fucker. So that was scary, and I got very lucky because there are. Also in the battle, there are like a little slot machine things going on in the background that like sometimes there'll be like 2 stars or 2 whenever they get 2 of the same thing, the game gives you the option to play the slots so you can get an extra like if you get all the stars, the star amount you get when you win goes up, or if you get all the mushrooms, your health goes up the whole way. So luckily, it's the end of this fight. Everybody in my party is dead. Mario's about fucking dead. I'm almost done, but like he's gonna get me. The mushrooms come up, and I get a triple mushroom, and my health went up.
Saved
and
by
it
the mushrooms.
saved me, and I won, and I beat him. But it was just like, holy fuck, God.
Bring you a sense of pride and accomplishment.
I felt good. I felt really good.
You're like, wow, I do not have to do that again. Would you have done it again?
I don't know. I don't know if I would have. Yeah. I don't know if I would have.
What did you get for winning?
I got a bat. So in this game, I'm forgetting about one of the greatest features. So when you level up, you can either boost your health, your FP, which is like your mana, or like it lets you use your special ability points, or your badge points. And like it has like a badge system, like how like I don't know if you ever played Hollow Knight or things like that, where like you have a certain amount of badges you can wear. These badges give you abilities, so you can boost the amount of abilities you can get. So it gave me like a badge that like it was a great badge. It was a badge that was like half the damage Mario always takes will be inflicted onto the person attacking you.
That is
that was a really good badge to get. And like the incentive through the whole 100 was every 10 you got a new badge anyway, like a different kind of badge. You get a lot of good badges for doing it. I love the badge. It just sucks
if you don't get the final one.
If you die there, yeah. So that was pretty tough. And then there was another boss where you fought like the actual champion of the wrestling ring who had like retired but came back, and he's just like a toad, like one of the Toad characters, like a mushroom head. But he can go like Super Saiyan and shit. It was a crazy fight. I really thought I was going to lose that. But luckily I pulled another just out of my fucking seat of my pants type of win.
A lot of luck.
A lot of luck, but skill in that luck.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that third mushroom, I had to learn, because you see, like, it stops immediately. So if you click A, it doesn't just slow down and, like, stop on the slots. It stops immediately. So you'd always look for whatever the color of the thing above what you wanted was. So, like, if I had 2 stars, I was like, oh, I want to look for a green mushroom because the star's right underneath it. So that's what I did when the third mushroom come. I was like, I know the green mushroom's on top of that mushroom. So as soon as I see the color green, hit it. And I hit it, and I fucking saved myself.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, this game came out last Thursday. I played it. I beat it this Thursday. Solid week, just played nonstop. It was like I'd wake up, I'd start playing. And Hellblade, sadly, took the fall because like I was like, it's so much easier to sit and play my Switch at anywhere than sit and play.
That'll have to be for another podcast.
It will be for the next one. I will now that I got some Paper Mario 1000 Year Door out of the way. I can't wait. And the story in this game, great. Good time too. I don't want to go too much into that because I've talked about it a lot right now.
Yeah, I'll probably check it out. If
definitely.
It's only 30 hours for a whole story.
Yes. And it's just a gem.
Yeah.
Just a treat to play. Other than a lot of talking. But if you can just click through it and you're okay with that, whatever. But yeah. I'm actually planning to do a full, like for our Patreon, the Chase Base, just breakdown of this game. Because I loved it that much. And I think it had so many interesting parts just throughout that.
I think that would be a great chase.
I think it would too. I think I have a lot to say about this game. And like I said, it not only was it a great time and a good game, I consider it possibly in my top 10 because it had everything I wanted. I mean, the first game I ever played, Mario. I love Mario games. And now you just made it Mario, aesthetically really cool to look at, and an RPG that I'm just so into lately are my turn-based RPGs.
Yep. There's a reason why it's been around for so long. It's been one of the kings of video games.
Yeah. They know how to make the Mario people in general just different kind of games that are all good.
Yeah.
So this one just really, really, really spoke to me.
And it sounds super creative.
It is. It's so creative. There's so many things that you can do with like your body in the paper world. That
like who thinks of that?
Japanese people.
Sure.
Which is a great segue because we're about to go watch
Godzilla.
A very Japanese movie. It's so Japanese that it's in Japanese. But I'm fucking stoked to see this movie. So
hell yeah.
We'll hop off.
Hopping
we'll go
off.
watch it. We'll come back and share our thoughts on Godzilla Minus One.
See you soon.
Take care, shitters.
Taki! Get a light on us! Roger!
What the hell is that thing?
It's called Godzilla.
What's Godzilla?
One of the locals told me when deep sea fish float like today, Godzilla is near.
Godzilla? We're done for.
Go! Take cover! Get the trench
All right, welcome back, fuckers. We just finished
Braden.
watching Godzilla Minus One, and boy howdy are we going to talk about it, aren't we, Chase?
We really are, man.
Yeah.
Aggressively, apparently.
Yeah.
You're always calling out the shitters in like an aggressive way. There was one episode where you called them like nerds or
Yeah.
something. What up, nerds?
Isn't that
Or
what we
s-
all are?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
I'm calling myself one as well. In solidarity.
That's fine. What do you think of the movie, Braden?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was sad. It was
Way sadder than I
very dark.
expected. Yeah.
Very, very maybe existential a little.
Yeah.
Existential.
Existential, yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Seems like I haven't seen any of the classic Godzilla movies, but
Ever?
no.
Oh
Never.
wow.
Yeah. But I do feel like based off of the things like the Godzilla mythos that I know in pop culture, this seemed very accurate to that. Like this seemed like a modern day version of a classic day Godzilla movie, if that makes sense.
I mean, no, as somebody who does know the Godzilla movies, this was a very modern day representation of just the very first Godzilla movie that ever came out. Yeah, like
that's what it seemed like. It was following that lore
Yeah.
of like the first.
they were just like, we'll just do that again, but with better effects, and because it doesn't. I guess it's not really modern day. It's still taking place the same time frame as the original Godzilla
like
movie.
1945 to 1947.
Yeah, but just now instead, just with like now effects. Yeah, and that's something I really enjoyed about it because. So I was thinking this throughout the movie. I think for me, like, yes, this is a better overall movie than a lot of like the other Godzilla movies, specifically like the Godzilla X Kong v Kong. But I'm just more into those kind of movies. I think like. I like Godzilla v Kong and Godzilla X Kong more than I like this. Not as like a film, not as like a piece of cinema.
Right. Individually, this is better, but
But like for me personally, even though I've seen the original Godzilla movie, I have it. But like I have always liked just the Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, Godzilla versus the Sea. I just prefer the Godzilla who fights other fucking monsters.
that monster fighting era. Godzilla.
I don't mind him as a scary monster.
Not
Godzilla.
the classic Destroy Tokyo Godzilla.
Right. Like he still would, but that wasn't the theme, as opposed to like a couple other Godzilla movies. But in this, they full on went in just the destructive force that is Godzilla. He's just a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's just not good.
He's basically an animal.
He's an animal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Through and through.
Like they mentioned, he's pretty much just doing this to expand his territory.
Yeah.
Like there's kind of implications of like what's going on in the world and what drives Godzilla, but you never like fully get his motivation of why he's doing what he's doing. He just seems like a monster.
Right. Do you want to explain the plot real quick before I like kind of dive into some of that?
Yeah, I'll get it. So like we open with following a Japanese Zero that is touching down on this island, and that turns out to be our main character, who is a disgraced kamikaze pilot. Because kamikaze pilots are supposed to do suicide runs, and
He shouldn't be.
He's still alive, so he didn't.
Fucked up.
Yeah, he didn't do what he was supposed to do, and that
Um,
follows him for the rest of the movie. That kind of guilt.
Yeah. Years go by.
And he
is just fucked up.
Basically, when he lands on this island, Godzilla attacks, and he has an opportunity to do something, but he freezes, and pretty much everyone there dies except for him and one other dude.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to me because this is the Godzilla that we saw here. It was very sudden.
Like when he showed up,
it was
Holy
just like he's just here, and
he just came in and started fucking destroying shit.
There was no warning. There was no reason that they gave for why he showed up. He just randomly
just did. I mean, yeah. And we only we saw the fish, but we didn't know what the fish meant until after that. And then it was like, fuck.
Yeah, all we see, the main character looks down at the water, and there's these weird looking fish that have come to the surface, and we find out later that that's a sign that Godzilla is near. Like, he stirs up deep sea fish and causes them to go to the surface, I guess. But it was interesting when we saw him the first time because he's a lot smaller than other Godzillas we're used to. Like, he's about the size of a building. Like, he's not walking through buildings.
He looked just like the size of like a regular ass Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, he was basically the size of a T-Rex.
Yeah.
He was still destructive and scary.
Scary
There
destructive.
wasn't anything that they could do against him.
I don't remember the last time I was that afraid of Godzilla.
Right.
I've been watching this guy since I was fucking baby.
Yeah, and he's just taking all these soldiers down in the middle of the night.
Tearing them apart graphically.
Very graphically.
Very
He's
graphically.
biting their heads off. He's smushing them.
Yeah.
And so our main character survives and manages to go back to Japan, the mainland, and it's been
Giza, I think is.
Yeah.
Is that where he ends up?
Something Ginzo, Giza,
something
Ginza.
like that. Gyro.
Which, like, his original home is completely destroyed from the fire bombings that the United States did during the war.
Yeah.
But he ends up meeting this homeless woman and her orphaned baby that she found. It's not her baby, but she found it. Like, the baby's parents are dead from the bombings. The main character's parents are dead from the bombings. This homeless woman's family's dead. But they kind of
really, really shows us the horrors of war.
Right.
Before Godzilla really does a whole lot, they're like, World War II, though.
watching it as an American, I felt very bad. because that wasn't even the atomic bomb site. That was just the fire rate sites.
Yeah.
They don't even touch upon the atomic bombs
They really don't.
in this. They just kind of skip over that, and you just assume that it happened because
it's history.
We go further in the war. But yeah, he ends up finding, this woman, and he takes them in, and they end up living together as kind of a pseudo family. But he doesn't marry her, and he doesn't view himself as a part of a family unit yet.
He's got a lot of going on.
He's got a lot of PTSD.
He's got some survivor's guilt mixed with PTSD.
Yeah.
Mixed with he saw Godzilla kill a bunch of people once.
Yeah, and for a while, the movie is just...
Sorry, but dude, imagine you were in World War II, right? World War II, the fucking craziest war that ever faced the Earth. You're on Japan's side, post-nuke.
Right.
It's been pretty fucked up.
It's been pretty
rough. You decide, I'm outie 5,000, and Godzilla appears, and just a dinosaur monster creature that you've never seen before is just killing people around you. You'd be fucked up.
And the only explanation to his origin is that, the locals call him Godzilla because he shows up around here every once in a while and fucks shit up. And he's just apparently been a creature.
He's just there, yeah.
That's been around, that no one knew about. But anyways, the movie for a while focuses on just the aftermath of the post-war Japan, and them slowly building up, and the main characters slowly getting his life together. He eventually gets a job demining the seas after the war, which he ends up being really good at, and that gives him some extra money so he can actually rebuild his life.
Yeah, and we'd meet a very fun cast of characters through that job.
Yeah.
All those characters are cool.
Yeah, the boat crew that he bonds with are all really great characters.
Solid dudes through and through.
I was gonna say also, there wasn't a singular character that I disliked in this, because there wasn't really a character you were supposed to dislike.
Maybe Godzilla.
It was more a united front against Godzilla, but you didn't want to see anyone die. Every once in a while in these movies, they'll throw in evil human characters that you want to see get smashed by Godzilla. They don't have any of this. They're all pretty good people that just want to move on with their lives after the war, and Godzilla's fucking it up.
Godzilla's just coming in and wrecking the place.
Yeah, because there's a few asides that show there's atomic testing in Bikini Atoll. There's a few time jumps in the movie, and it just shows some outside history that's happening. But a year or
Which
so,
is such a cool thing to do.
It is, yeah.
It's sort of an exposition dump, but in a really unique way.
It is, yeah. It was a good way to do it without just having a narration voiceover. You just see what's happening. But yeah, so a year or two has passed. He's doing pretty well. Suddenly, Godzilla shows up again.
just when he thinks it's over,
just when he thinks it's over, and it's not just the same. Well, it is the same Godzilla from all those years ago, but he's a lot bigger now, and
huge Godzilla size now.
Gigantic. Yeah, he's the size of an actual Godzilla that you picture of a Godzilla. He can walk through a city and knock down skyscrapers.
Exactly.
And
he does
exactly what he does. He comes in, he completely where was it, Tokyo that he attacked first, or
no, it was that Ginza city, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was there. And then they went to Tokyo because first they caught him. First he attacked their boats before he went into the city. So there's a scene in the movie where they're blowing these mines up on a very small wooden boat because the magnets in the mines would sense metal. So they're just in this fishing boat,
rinky-dink fishing boat. Yeah,
and Godzilla chases after them. What a fucking tense scene that was. Oh my god, this little boat just getting chased around by this big Godzilla.
His head is bigger than the boat.
And that's just his head. And you see his whole body just coming at them, and they're trying to use mines to stop them. And it's a really good scene. I don't want to wreck most of it. I mean, we're gonna spoil this movie, but
and people have seen it in the trailers. That's when they're on the boat shooting him, and you see its face coming.
But it's a great scene, all in all.
Very
it
scary.
ends super well. I mean, we get an atomic blast scene in that,
because that boat. From the trailer, it just looks that's just a random ship that Godzilla's attacking.
Yes.
No, that's the main.
That's our main crew. Those are our best
Everyone
friends.
On there.
And we're like, oh my god, these guys we like, are they gonna die?
Yeah.
And they didn't. They got out, and it's fun to see how that plays out because man, do they do some cool shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he attacks the actual city.
Right. Yeah, he broke through their defenses. Like, they were trying to slow him down and kill him out in the water, and he fucks up all their boats and comes anyways.
And he just fucks up this city. Just comes in. And the thing is, he doesn't come in strong like he does at the beginning. Like, he doesn't, like, tear into that place. He just is slowly... He's just so fucking big that all he has to do is destroy these... by walking, destroy all these people.
He just walks through...
walks through cities.
To destroy
eats
buildings,
a train.
he just pushes his body through the buildings, completely annihilates them. He said he destroyed Nippon Theater by just, like, walking into
the
it.
very dedicated news crew that is just like...
Oh, yeah.
There's this news crew that's like the band on the Titanic. They are just reporting Godzilla.
Ground Zero.
Right, watching, like, they're right behind him as he's fucking destroying buildings, and then eventually he destroys their building. But it's that was a really cool scene. I like that. I like that a lot.
That was another one that felt like classic Godzilla. Like the newscaster, like, talking about the terror in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that.
Fun little homage to that kind of shit.
Yeah. Dude, when he fucking sets off his energy blast, or his...
In the city?
Atomic blast, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
His energy blast is probably my favorite thing about the movie. Just, like, everything about it is...
It really...
the coolest I've ever seen it done.
It really, like, it's a little over the top, but, like...
It's, like, super overpowered in this one.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, you think Godzilla...
And you feel the air leave the room. I don't know, there's something when he shoots it. The second he shoots it, you, in your body, just, like...
It's the sound design.
Feel that.
The sound design of it is fantastic.
Really good,
Like, actually hear... The sound design of the whole movie was really good.
Yeah.
But, like...
The atomic blast.
Yeah, it's literally... I think that's the one that looks the most like a nuclear bomb going off. Like, he's literally shooting a nuclear bomb.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for
and
sure.
Like, it makes a mushroom cloud,
makes a mushroom cloud.
shock wave. Like, people get fucked up just from being in the general vicinity.
Mm-hmm. And so does the vicinity.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And that's the thing. So he walks through this town, or this city, and then after he just walks through it and destroys it, the tanks show up to shoot him, and they piss him off. And so he nukes him. And
basically
fucking kills everybody. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people. And they have to, like, leave for Tokyo after that.
Yep, we assume one of the main characters dies.
Yeah.
Are we doing spoilers?
Yeah, we might as well.
Yeah.
Full spoilers on Godzilla Minus One.
Yeah.
Noriko, which is the girl that moved in with our main character after everything, she survives a very crazy train scene, only to meet back up with our main character. What is his name again?
Koichi.
What is it?
Koichi. Yeah.
Yeah. So she meets up with him on the streets as they're running from Godzilla, and as he shoots off his nuclear blast, she, like, pushes Koichi into
like an alleyway.
Yeah, to be safe, and she just gets fucking blown away by this thing.
And then you just see, like, a ton of building debris just fly right where she was going.
Yeah.
And you're like, how, like, she's dead.
Fuck. And then the movie just kind of moves on. And they say she's dead. They have a funeral for her. She's basically dead.
Yeah. And that causes the main character, Koichi, to, like, completely lose it then.
Yeah, he wasn't losing it before, which he was.
He's been going through it this whole movie.
Yeah, we haven't even
PTSD.
talked about any of his, like, fucking panic attacks that he was having.
Yeah, he is not well.
They go full into the characters in this movie.
Yeah. And it makes you care about them.
It really does, yeah.
And like I told you before we started recording, this is how you do a human story in a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't really like the human stories from the MonsterVerse. Like,
yeah, they're, like, fine at best.
They're like, when, like, set dressing, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, you're not really there for them.
No.
But this movie was very much
there for them
at its core about the human story and how they're, like, Godzilla is this existential
You could
threat.
swap Godzilla out for anything else.
Yeah.
And still make this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you couldn't swap them out.
No.
Yeah. I mean, Godzilla ultimately really isn't even in the movie a whole. Like in the percentage of the whole 2-hour film.
He shows up.
He's there and he makes his presence.
Yeah,
known,
he shows up maybe 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Total.
I'd say 4, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, it's very impactful when he does.
Yeah,
so,
and that's
like,
how it should be.
I mean, you're worried about God. Like, that's the thing. That first Godzilla attack happens. It's fucking crazy, the one at the beach.
Yeah.
And then probably another 30 minutes of movie happens before Godzilla's even mentioned again.
Before they even talk about
Yeah.
it, because he's kept a secret for a while.
Yeah,
Like
until they can't.
You find out that they covered up the island incident and said that the Americans took out the garrison and not Godzilla.
Yeah. They
and
cover up the boat attack by just being like, we're not allowed to tell anybody.
Yeah, we don't want to cause a panic because we're still it's still post-war Japan, so the society's getting back on its feet. They're pretty fragile.
Yeah.
They go into that a lot of how all the scars from all the veterans and stuff that they're still dealing with. It's very much a movie, like an anti-war movie.
For sure.
If we could go into themes at all, it's all about the impact of war and how that leaves a lasting impact. And as Americans, we don't always, study or learn about what it was like on the Japanese side because they were pretty fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. And this movie really shows you why you should care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. And you just feel even worse for them that now that they're being attacked by a Godzilla. There's a lot of scenes where it's I kept calling them neighborhood watch, but it's basically a militia.
Yeah.
Is the fighting force for Japan right now, and they're gonna go fight Godzilla just as people.
Yeah, they have a good in-universe explanation that makes sense with the history of the time of why Japan has to deal with Godzilla on its own because it's right after the war, and Godzilla also attacks an American ship, and so they think, oh, maybe the Americans will come help, but it's not seen as a big enough problem for the Americans to move because they're very much in the Cold War and they don't want to provoke the Soviets from doing anything. So they mentioned that the United States can't send any ships to help because they don't want it to seem like they're militarizing that part of the world again. So the Americans can't come to help. The Soviets aren't going to come and help.
It is up to these guys.
And Japan does not have a military anymore because it was dismantled after the war as a part of peace conditions. So it really is just civilians doing their best to come up with a way to kill him.
And this Godzilla, by the way, has it's like Majin Buu. It can regenerate pieces of its body.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, it's like a super powered Godzilla.
He's more vulnerable to attacks than other Godzillas we've seen. Cannons and stuff can hurt him.
Yeah, he seemed hurt, but nothing would
but
kill him.
But he can regenerate.
There's a mine that goes off in his mouth and blows off the side of his face very early on in the movie, and you just watch it form back very quickly.
Yeah.
So they got that to worry about.
And again, it's you can only really theorize of where exactly he came from and why he's bigger now and why he has these regenerative properties and atomic properties. But if we're going with Godzilla lore, we'll assume that he got mutated from
a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, from the nukes.
Yeah.
From Bikini Atoll.
And I think the movie really does just expect you to understand that.
Yeah, because it doesn't really matter. Because again, it's not really about Godzilla, the movie. I mean,
yeah.
At the end of the day, it's more about just humans trying to come together to face this collective threat, so they can actually live.
Big
peacefully.
theme in just not to deteriorate from the movie or not to deter from the movie itself, but think of a lot of anime that they always end with some impossible villain where everybody has to come together. I mean, shit, even that's how Naruto ends. Yeah, the world peace is achieved because they all have to fight this common enemy, and that's in a lot of anime. Yeah. So I just feel like it's a very Japanese thing to be sometimes all it takes is some really big fucked up thing to bring us all together.
Bring you all together to make you work together again. And
too bad it has to be an alien or a monster or
Yeah.
But
you see that it also worked banding together to take down Godzilla so close after the war was really cathartic for a lot of the people involved. Because I guess since we're already in spoilers, they do manage to kill him. Quote unquote kill him.
Or do they?
Yeah. But yeah, they mention how it's very cathartic for everyone to be involved in a war that's just, I guess, or they didn't really say it quite in those terms, but to make a difference. They meant this time because they knew they were fighting a losing war at the time, and people were just throwing their lives away for a lost cause.
Yeah.
And this one didn't feel like a lost cause. It felt like they're fighting to live.
Right. They're fighting. They think maybe they can
Yeah.
there's a chance we can kill this fucking nuclear monster way more than we had in World War II.
Right.
So just another, like, Japan being like, fucking World War II.
God damn it.
Goddamn World War II. Yeah. Yeah. That's a big theme of, like, the third act of the movie is just very...
It's almost like Independence Day. Kind
sure.
of.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Like you're banding together all of your resources that you have and coming up with like one final plan, like Hail Mary plan to get rid of them. That probably isn't going to work.
And it is a wild plan. Okay, so...
It's a unique plan.
Go ahead, explain the plan, too. Like, so when they all team up.
I thought the plan was so stupid when I first heard it.
It starts pretty dumb.
And on its head, it kind of is.
It did, yeah.
But it almost does work, the original plan that they have. It almost
And once they explain the plan, it's actually like, okay, I see how that could work.
Yeah, for a nation that doesn't have nukes to throw at it, which that would probably just make it stronger anyways. But that is like a very creative solution. Anyways, the solution.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to wrap it around like these string of Freon cans. Because I guess when you put Freon bubbles in the water, it can like envelope a creature and cause it to sink. Like it makes like a little barrier around it where water can't go.
It's basically what it was showing us.
So they're going to wrap Godzilla in Freon cans and blow the Freon in the water and cause Godzilla to sink down into this trench that they're going to lure him to. And as he sinks further down into the trench, the pressure will crush him and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
They said even if that's not enough, because there were characters, when I first heard that, I was like, that's not enough. That's not going to be enough to kill him. But there's characters who say, like, that won't work.
What if that does not work?
Yeah, and so there's plan B if that doesn't work, is we're going to attach flotation devices to Godzilla and we'll eject them and cause him to rise up to the surface, because if he could survive the pressurization, he probably wouldn't be able to survive the depressurization that quickly. That's how they explained it.
And like, it's a Godzilla. They seem to think they know more about Godzilla than they do, but they really don't.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like a bad plan.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
with the resources that they have available,
might as well try it.
Yeah, because they established boats aren't going to work. Conventional weapons aren't going to work. They don't have anything bigger that they can hit it with. Like, this is the best shot that they have. And it's, crazy on its face, but it does almost work. It hurts him.
Almost work. It's a big... it hurts him badly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad they showed that it hurt him bad, because it is a crazy...
He had to stop it. He probably would not have survived the depressurization if he didn't bite through the balloons halfway through.
Right, yeah. Yeah. He stalled it and gave him a chance, but I mean, he still comes up. Dude, how sick looking was Godzilla when he like came up all fucked up and then started to use the energy wave? Like the way his like design looked at that point. Cool. He looked fucking awesome, dude. Yeah. Oh my god.
I love the little detail that like his spikes retract out when it's charging.
Yeah. It's that's the thing. The effects are really good. You can tell it's like the best, but like, because I remember hearing this when we didn't have a huge budget, but like, it's very high quality where the CGI is used on like Godzilla and stuff. It's the best Japan can offer.
Yes.
Like, it's still not as good looking as a lot of
wonky looking parts.
There's some sci-fi looking parts.
Right. Yeah. Like the tanks part I thought looked a little Sci-Fi Channel.
Sure.
Cause I think they're CGI tanks.
Well, I even think when Godzilla first comes in and it's dark and it's on the beach, it was like a little, I don't know, the way he moves.
Yeah.
The way he moves,
weird.
It still looks great.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is practical, but like it is like,
it's a very interesting thing to look at.
Yes. And so when he does crazy attacks and moves like the nuke beam, like it looks so cool.
Yeah.
The movement, it's so dramatic. There's a lot of anime in this. There's a lot of anime flair in this live action movie for sure.
The main character has a few main character anime moments.
For sure. Yeah. Oh my god. And even when you watch an anime, you're like, this would be a weird thing for a person to do. So when you see it, you're like, oh.
That is a weird thing for a person to do.
But, so Godzilla, he goes down and back up. And he's fucked up, but they still didn't beat him yet. And it's a very long, like, final boat scene.
It's a good final battle.
And because they've explained the plan, you the whole time are like, well, this isn't going to be what kills Godzilla.
Yeah. There's got to be a twist.
Which was nice to see that he was actually, though, like, it affected him.
Would you like to explain the twists? What took him out?
So, the whole movie, like we've discussed, we've got this disgraced kamikaze pilot. And, I made a little joke earlier on in the movie, too. I turned to Braden and I was like, you think he's going to kamikaze Godzilla by the end of this movie?
So I said you called it early on.
And that is what happened. I don't think that's like a real hard thing to catch on to.
Right.
They do
That's
beat
where
it
his
over the
arc was
head.
going.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But, so he, our main character, Koichi, now that his girlfriend, wife, person that never got to be, got blown away in a fucking nuclear blast, he is like, all right, I'm going to kill this fucking thing by kamikazing it, and I'm going to get my life back. Well, not get his life back, but like redeem himself. Yeah, by killing himself to kill Godzilla, by putting a bunch of fucking bombs in this airplane. And he knows that Godzilla takes the most damage from the inside, not the outside. So he wants to kamikaze into Godzilla's mouth. And so Godzilla comes up from the pressure all fucked up.
Yeah,
and he's
about disoriented. He's about to fuck everyone up.
He's about to blow
pissed.
everybody to fucking Kingdom Come. And really cool scene when that's about to happen. And then it gets all quiet.
It pans to like everyone on the boats, all the characters that have like risked their lives to
death, sort of, yeah.
Like they're all just resigned that they know they're not getting out of this.
Yep. And this motherfucker just comes in with his airplane and just last minute
blows
Godzilla's fucking head clean, like boom, off, and then Godzilla just fucking falls apart,
disintegrates pretty much. I would say crumbles.
Crumbles is the perfect word, as beams of his atomic rays are shooting everywhere.
You said this. I also thought that he was going to explode. In a nuclear type explosion and fuck up everyone else there. But I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, he just kind of fell apart. But right in that moment, we find out also that the guy had installed a parachute, so he still didn't kill himself. He didn't kamikaze.
Yeah, you think he kamikaze, but the fact that his mechanic rival that hates him because he was the only other one who survived the island attack actually wanted him to live.
Yes.
Because we even said, like, if he survives this, his mechanic guy friend is going to be super pissed at him because he was pissed that he survived the first time.
I said he was going to go and shoot him himself afterwards. But actually, au contraire, he sees how war just changes things. And, it really touches on some themes with that kind of shit, too.
For sure.
Oof, yeah. Just giving him, like, not the sacrifice play says so much. Like, letting him live and letting him like face his demons and move on with his life.
I thought was a great final message for the film and fit more in line with the theme, because if he actually did kamikaze and kill himself, I just feel like that would take away from what they were kind of building up for. That, like, they're
hopeful. They want to build hope.
It was a very
if a guy
hopeful
kills
message
himself.
at the end. Like, it was all about how, like, their lives were treated very cheaply during the war. And, kamikaze pilots were just one part of it, but they even mentioned, which I think that is true, that like poor supply lines and like disease and malnutrition killed a lot more troops than the actual Americans did in the war. And so it's all about, we need to start living our life now. And so we're going to not sacrifice anyone if we don't have to. We're not going to make any needless sacrifices.
They make that big speech about how like nobody's going to die. We're going into this expecting not to die. Not a single one of us.
The only people who died are the people on the lure team that were trying to lure him in. Their boat got
fucked up. They got yeeted. Other than that, though, everybody else lived.
Everyone, all the other people we thought were going to die lived.
And they killed Godzilla, and the main character goes home, and everybody's greeting him. And not only is his adopted daughter okay, and the person he left her with okay, he gets a note to go to the hospital. And who's all bandaged up there? Noriko.
I was so pissed off because when he got off the boat and everyone was greeting him, and it was like, the hype, the happy part of the movie, I was like, and guess what? We pulled Noriko out of the rubble. She's here too. And then that actually happened.
She's just, they found her. Like, somebody did. I don't know. She's just in a hospital.
They mentioned that, like, there were search and rescue operations that were still ongoing. It'd take a while to find
everyone. You just
everyone.
assumed, because since you saw her get blown the fuck away. that she died.
And she was fucked up. Like, she was in a cast and had a...
Wraps around her like eye.
Yeah, it looks like she might have lost an eye or something.
Yeah.
But she's okay.
She's alive.
She'll live, yeah.
Yeah. So the movie does end very it ends with such a hopeful little message.
Yeah.
Almost too hopeful, but whatever. I think you would kind of accept that she is alive just because, like, this movie has just beat us to death the whole way through.
This movie is
And
very
if you want us to
depressing
be
in parts.
hopeful.
Yeah, it's very sad in parts, which made it very refreshing that, like, at the end of the movie ended on hope. Because it was looking pretty cynical for a while, especially after the city was destroyed and we think Noriko's dead.
Sure.
And, like, you know that, like, the main character is not going to survive this because he doesn't have anything to live for anymore.
Yeah. And it actually plot twist twice there. You know,
Yep,
he
turns
lives,
out
she lives.
He lives, she lives.
Everybody lives. Because even after the credits start to kind of dip out, they show regenerating chunk of Godzilla.
Yeah.
So even Godzilla lives.
Even Godzilla lives.
Which
so
I thought was a
everyone's
weird... I'm like, if you wanted to end it hopefully, why show me Godzilla? Because now I'm like, oh, well, actually, no. Godzilla's coming back.
You knew they're going to make more.
Of course, dude. You know what I want to see? I want to see this style of Godzilla fighting some monsters. I hope they go in that direction of just
It's possible.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
I would pay to see that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Very, very pleased with this movie. I still don't know why it's called Godzilla Minus One.
I was wondering that as well. I feel like
Do you have a phone?
there's definitely a reason.
I have a phone. Yeah, there's gotta be. Because
I even remember hearing about
at least through the movie, I didn't.
It was believed the country could never reach a lower point, but the movie makes that happen with Godzilla bringing terror to the country, since the movie puts Japan into a position lower than zero.
Wow, that's fucking cool.
That's actually.
I would. Yeah, I think that's a genius title for this movie
because they didn't think it could get any worse.
Right. It was the end of World War II, and everybody talks about how awful it was.
Yeah, everyone's lost half their family. Like.
Okay, yeah, Godzilla, yeah. That's dope. Yeah.
Very, profound.
And Godzilla shows up, and it's like,
fuck.
It's possibly
you feel
worse.
bad for the main character because even just through his perspective, he's had such a shitty life, and Godzilla just keeps showing up in his life and fucking things up when he tries to get to like a semblance of normalcy.
He's like kind of happy in that little middle ground.
Yeah, he was like rebounding and like finding his way again.
Weird, it's like Ward. The message is also Ward never truly leaves you.
Yeah.
And if it ends with even Godzilla being regenerating, it even stays that.
Yeah.
You're always stuck with war.
Another scene I loved. So one of the characters on the boat they call Kid. That's his nickname. And the entire time he mentions he was too young to participate in the war. So he's actually never seen war, while everyone else on the boat served in the war in some capacity. So that's kind of his character trait, that he has this envy for people who've served in the war, and like people talk down to him because of it, and he feels like he doesn't get respect because he didn't serve in the war. So this whole time he's like saying how he wishes he would have that opportunity, and they all kind of like scoff at him. But at the point where they finalize the plan for Godzilla, he's like pumped. Like the kid's a part of it.
He's pumped to go to war.
He's pumped to go to war. He's like, this is a chance for me to prove myself. It's another very anime kind of thing. If you think
for sure.
But
the war-torn characters don't want him to have that.
Yeah, and and like the two older guys look at him and are just like, "Oh, you're not doing anything with that arm," because his arm was fucked up in an earlier attack from Godzilla, and he's like, "You're not doing anything with that arm, so you're staying here."
Yeah.
And he doesn't take this well, obviously, and he's like, I still want to defend my country, and they just walk away and don't look back at him. But you see it in their faces, like they're doing this to protect him, because right before they leave, one of the guys says to him, "The fact that you've lived a life out of the war, you should be grateful for. Like that's something to be grateful for, not something to feel bad about."
Yeah.
And so the whole point of
that's why they fought in the war.
Yeah, and so they all know, like they've seen war. They know very well that there's a good chance that they're not going to come out of this, and so they said, we're leaving the country to you, like a generation that grew up not knowing what war is like. Yeah,
it was a good scene.
Yeah,
it was a really good scene, because we didn't know where a lot of the scenes in this movie, we really don't know where it's going until it's over, and you're like, oh wow, that was not what I expected, and really cool. Yeah, that was a great scene. And that dude showed up anyways.
He
He
came
show up at
anyways.
the end battle anyways
helps.
just to be there. Yeah, he helps in his own way.
Yeah, and he almost, gets marked with the rest of them, but yeah, he was saved.
He was ready to die together, yeah. One scene I particularly like, it was real quick, but I'm always like thinking in my head like what it would be like if a Godzilla showed up in like Kersey, Pennsylvania. Like how massive Godzilla would look and like not surrounded by giant skyscrapers, it's just the woods and shit.
Yeah.
And they showed that little scene of Godzilla like basically walking on somebody's farm.
Yeah, and like rural
in that
farmland.
perspective, I was just like,
That's cool.
yes, that's what I've always like thought it would be like. Like he's just enormous. He's just like the size of the whole
he just
place.
steps on someone's barn.
Oh my god, yeah. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. And the plane, like that was like also when the plane was circling him to try to lead him to the ocean. So like that, it just aesthetically was. It's not like the best effects I've ever seen, but it still looked really fucking
Yeah,
good.
it's a cool concept.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we're always used to him in the city, so it's nice seeing him against different
Some rural.
backgrounds. Yeah, some rural countryside. What would he look like walking through western Pennsylvania?
You see it, but through like
Yeah.
just the outskirts of Tokyo.
Things would have gone very wrong if he got that far.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, I said it when the movie started. It was certainly one of the best looking, well filmed of like the Japanese Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
I mean, just the cinematography of it was just really nice and
Yeah,
fresh.
shot
and,
very well.
Yeah, shot very well. They definitely spent some money. I mean, once again, I know the budget on this was not big. That's something that's really crazy about it.
Yep, they put it where it needed to go.
Sure did. Like, you wouldn't think. You could tell me this is a $100 million movie, and I'd believe it. Really fucking liked it. Prefer movies where Godzilla fights monsters, but as a film, as a Godzilla fan, this rocked. This was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
This
Very
was a really
good
cool movie.
Retelling of the original Godzilla.
Yeah. And like we've been talking about it for quite a while here now, but I just feel like we could probably even go deeper.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the themes that we've left out of just what we said
Yeah.
here.
Very thematically heavy movie.
Yeah. If you're not in a good place in your life, maybe wait till you're in a more positive place to watch a movie like this even.
Yeah, because it is depressing in a lot of parts, but it's meant to be like that.
It's meant to be hopeful
give you
though by
that
the end.
level of hope.
You got to get through the whole movie. Don't stop halfway and kill yourself.
Yeah, because kind of shows that no matter how bad things can get, you can always bounce back.
Absolutely. Even Godzilla.
Even Godzilla's
who gets fucking blown into like maybe a couple chunks.
He'll be fine.
He'll be back. And you know what? Maybe next time he'll be saving Tokyo, because that's usually where these things go.
Maybe King Kong will show up.
And the Japanese people they would just keep playing Duck Duck Goose with each other with fucking Godzilla and King Kong. Anything else you want to say about Godzilla Minus One for the shitters?
Oh, I touched upon the most important parts. Yeah, my favorite part of the whole movie was that atomic blast in the city, just because it was so well done.
It was cool. It
so
was cool.
scary looking.
Mm-hmm. Even his like not as big ones were cool to see too. Like he did like 3 or 4 of them throughout the movie.
Yeah, the ship one was cool. It's just so impactful every time.
Yeah, dude, almost everything Godzilla does through this movie is so like impact. When he takes out that second boat, like when the 2 wooden boats are out at the beginning of the movie, and he just fucking takes it right after the guy's like, "We're gonna do this. We're gonna get this thing." Okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like that was a cool scene.
Well,
Godzilla is vicious.
Even
He's like a cat.
Yeah, even when he steps, like just walks, like he was like caving in the roads and like causing people to like fly up into the air from just stepping close to them,
walking around. Yeah, very cool Godzilla. His form, his shape was so.
He's chunky. He's a chunky boy.
He's an interesting shaped Godzilla. He's got like daddy bod.
Yeah, he goes through different phases.
Nice upper.
Because he almost even when they see him the second time years later, he's bigger, but he doesn't look as big as you see him when he's fully on land. Maybe just because he's submerged a lot of the time.
Yeah, maybe. They try to do some perspective shit with like his head being the size of a ship.
Yeah, but like at the end, he's like taller than buildings and knocking down skyscrapers.
Yeah. They gotta sink him to the deepest depths of the planet Earth to maybe kill him.
Yeah,
is their best bet.
And it almost worked, but it didn't. Blowing his head up with an airplane full of bombs did.
Because he's weaker on the inside.
Yep.
Not the outside. which is interestingly enough where his scarring, his skin scaled scars from the atomic blast would be. That's where he would have been hit.
Yeah.
On his outside, and that's probably why he can take it. But his insides are still.
They're still jelly.
Still, a living creature's innards. Godzilla -1. Watch it. See it. It's on Netflix. It's fucking awesome. It's dubbed. We didn't watch it dubbed, but it's great subtitled.
Yep.
Check it out. Fucking
Give it a watch.
yeah.
It's out there.
Certainly one of the more impactful Godzilla movies.
Oh yeah.
So I think that in itself is worth a watch.
Definitely not cheap cinema.
No.
This is very rich cinema.
Yeah. Yeah. Just be ready. Make sure you're prepared when you sit
get
to
in a
watch
good
it.
headspace.
Yeah. But yeah.
Cool.
That's our show then.
That's nerd shit in the
That's
dark,
nerd shit in the
folks.
dark this week. We've been going very long about Godzilla, so we should probably just zip right out of this. So
Yep.
Shitters, thank you for joining us.
We love you.
Spread the word on us. Keep an eye out for some of our stuff that we promised. I know we haven't really done anything with some of the things we said we're going to be doing, but they are coming. We are working on them. Things just take time.
Are being workshopped. Yep.
Yep. So we got some big things coming up. I think I'm comfortable saying we got a Matrix episode coming up.
Oh yeah.
Braden's never seen the Matrix,
Never
and
seen
neither
The
have
Matrix.
a couple of our other friends.
I know the general
Mm-hmm.
plot and premise and all that, and it's all the popular scenes.
Yep. But
Never actually watched it.
he's never watched it, and our buddy Jared hasn't either, and our buddy Ernie hasn't either. So we're all gonna just get together, watch it, and have them on the show. And we're gonna talk about the Matrix, so that'll be exciting.
Yep. We'll call it the Matrix effect. The Matrix effect.
Okay. You want me to call it that?
No, I don't know. We'll come up with something.
I don't hate that. We'll see. Know that if you see on the episode feed that says Matrix Effects or whatever, it came from this episode.
This is where it was birthed.
This is where it came from. And then after that, we're planning on doing, hopefully, having Amber on the show again to talk about High School Musical 2. We're going to watch High School Musical 2 and talk about it. She'll give us an update on Elsewhere, her theater company, and
See how that's going.
we'll get into shit like
Updates
that.
on that.
So that's the next month or so of Nerd Shit in the Dark.
Yep. Oh, and happy Pride Month, everyone.
Absolutely. Happy Pride Month
Yep.
for our friends out there that are celebrating this month. June is one of the best months. It's my favorite month of the year, and that certainly has something to do with it.
Live your pride.
How about it? Flag? Nope. Fly them flags.
Fly them flags high.
Fly them flags high.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well then, with that being said,
Yep.
how about we go write them off like we always do?
Good night.
Yeah, sleep tight.
And don't let the shit bugs bite.
And Braden,
Yes.
tell them
I love you.
he loves you. Good night.
Good night.
No, you hang up.